Hey guys, Chaos Shinobi here. This is a story where Naruto is neglected by his parents and meets Kaguya Otsutsuki one day. Kaguya agrees to train Naruto and help him achieve world-ending levels of strength. This is a Naruto x Fem Sasuke story. Now let's begin. Chapter 12. Are you sure that we can do this, Naruto? Yujito asked him as she was having doubts. Why are you worried since you are a Jonin and I a missing nin? Besides, my son told me that there are hidden documents inside Root HQ but couldn't pass thought due to some fire seals. He said to her. Son? Who is the son of yours, Naruto? Karen asked his cousin. You will meet him someday, but don't freak out for his appearance when you meet him. He told them as the majority wore masks with Nirvana seals to protect themselves from the Kodoamatsukami of Shursui Uchiha's Manjikyu ability, as they learned it from watching it Satsuki using it on some genin teams who got nosy even without looking at the eye. It still has effects except for some of Naruto's Pokemon summons, specifically his dark types and Shed Ninja. In addition, black robes to blend in. Karen was using her mind eyes of the Kagura to sense if there were hidden root nin inside the compound, and found no one as they entered the main house where Danzo lives as they went into his study to find a hidden passage. Are you sure this is where a secret door is? Tayuya asked. Yes, because it did some pranks on him here and saw him entered through a door as he pushed a button on his desk. Bingo! Naruto said as he found the button as a secret door appear behind a bookshelf as they entered. Fucking damn it, it's a voice-coded door, Tayuya said as Yodo stepped out in front of the door as she coughed a little as her voice changed. I'll do anything in my power for the greater good of Konoha, Yodo said in Danzo's voice perfectly word by word. Spot on, Yodo, how did you do that? Because it was so cool. Samui asked her as Yodo slowly turned around to show a Manjikyu Sharingan that looks like a star but with inverted colors, while inside Yujito Matatabi was scared. How did you get those eyes? Yujito asked her. Let's just say that Naruto-kun helped us, Yodo said as she showed her a mark of a black sun on her shoulder. As they head on to look at another door which requires penile identification. Let me handles this, Naruto said as he pulled down his pants, as the girls who haven't seen his sword were impressed as Matatabi wants to ravage it. How the hell did you match the shape? Tayuya yelled at him. I didn't match it, I just broke it, Naruto said as they went towards the final door. There are root nin behind the door, Toph said while using her visor. Final question. Who is the only person Danzo has never threatened to kill? The door asked. Minato, Naruto answered as the door opens as he told Ada to do her thing. All root nin saw her as she lashes her eyelashes as men got boners. Women blush from envy. Little girls felt a tingle and little boys come from their pants. Wow, Danzo is a messed up person to do this, and he wanted Menma and Arashi like them? Kuratsuchi is now wearing a dark sleeveless tank top with a white collar and a red tie. She wears a red belt that has a red side skirt cover over a black, pleated skirt. She wears it with long black socks and black shoes. She also wears red gauntlets and black gloves. This is a sign of her joining Black Sun. Azula and Toph are wearing black sailor uniforms, red belts that has a red side skirt cover like Kuratsuchi. Their shirts are slightly too short as it doesn't cover their belly buttons. Wearing red gauntlets like Kuratsuchi. Wearing it with long black socks and black shoes. Hiding in scale powder technique. Fu and Chome shouted as they exhaled luminous scaled powder to blind the root nins as Black Sun massacred them, even the children. 10 minutes later. That was fast and boring since they thought we would be predictable, Azula said as Satsuki made a strong genjutsu that fooled the cameras and seals so that Danzo thinks that his army is training as the real ones' corpses are sealed to use them as animatronics for later. Those children couldn't be saved as they are already broken beyond repair as we made their deaths swift and painless, Katsumi said as they lowered their heads. There are still more root nin around, Karen said, sensing her surroundings. How many? Gaia asked. Less than 10, but other people are few levels below us, Karen answered. So the mummy has prisoners, so we have to save them if they can be rehabilitated, Satsuki said as they head on. You know the drill. Capture Danzo as we need him alive for now, Satsuki said, grinning as they understood the message. They sneaked so they could not be heard as they saw two root nins who are the same age as Naruto and Satsuki. As both person have the standard root nin Shinobi, wear with ANBU masks while one has black hair and the other has pink hair with white streaks guarding Danzo's main office where he has important documents and mission files. as Naruto made with clones and transformed them into the girls except 3 that are Shikaku, Chome and himself, as Naruto gave them the commands as they left towards to find Danzo. Everything is sealed and replaced by fakes, Matsuri said with Fu and Azula, as the real ones found the nest as various females Uzumaki members and other females from various clans from the other major villages. One was a very tall and voluptuous woman with thickly braided, bow-adorned scarlet hair. Her 2 front braids have 2 golden ornaments by the upper sections. Her ears have U-shaped earrings and red lipstick. Now her attire could drive many wild with lust, donning a risque version of a typical witch's garb. She had a diamond-shaped opening exposing a portion of her bountiful breasts, and having a heart-shaped pattern around the borders, extending down to the navel of her stomach where it meets a large angular scar. Draping over it is a dark-colored cape with a light color inside and 2 gold ornaments, and is being held together by a golden chain. Wears an elongated black loincloth with the Uzumaki clan symbol on its front, having white borders on its edges and being connected to another piece with the very same heart-shaped design. Wearing a pair of black thigh-high boots with heels that have a white-colored border near the top and gloves of the same color and design, only having claw-like extensions. The final piece of her attire is the witch's hat with dreadlock designs with white bandaging near its end, finally with fur lining near its edges. This is Irene Belsirian Uzumaki, former daimyo and founder of Yuzushiogakure, Ajura Otsutsuki's younger daughter, Kushina's mother and Mito Uzumaki's sister, known as the Immortal Dragon Empress. A tall, young woman with ample breasts and long red hair. Her attire consists of a very revealing cerulean-colored top with a thin white trim, which tapers off at her waist and at her bust into multiple spiked points. Decorating the front of this top is a sky blue bow tied in the very center of her chest, and she wraps up her overall appearance with a pair of white capri shorts. This is Wendy Marvel Uzumaki and one of Kushina's older sisters. A woman wearing black catsuit. It zipped up the front and had fingerless gloves with the Uzumaki swirls on the shoulders. It had 2 belts, one of which had a red hourglass symbol on it and the other serving as a utility belt. It also had a thigh holster. This is Natalia Uzumaki and one of Kushina's older sisters. A well-endowed female with long, flowing, wavy scarlet hair with an elegant, loosely tied knot at the back, wears a very provocative outfit comprising of a revealing, halter-type armor breastplate top that leaves much of her cleavage and stomach exposed, with light armored gauntlets and greaves on her forearms and forelegs, respectively, as well as her thighs. She also wears a dark bikini bottom with a piece of cloth obscuring her hips. She wears a dark scarf around her neck. This is Urza Scarlet Uzumaki and Kushina's twin sister. A very beautiful fair-skinned young woman with long pink hair that she ties in a black ribbon and green eyes. She wears a suit during battle and usually wears a frilly black jacket on it. This is Akasha Uzumaki and Kushina's younger sister. A fairly tall and light-complexioned woman sporting a slender frame and a shapely figure. She is noticeably beautiful, with blue eyes and a beauty mark under the left side of her lips. She has flowing maroon-colored hair that reached her hips with bangs that part slightly to the right of her forehead and framed the sides of her face. Like the rest of her team, she is dressed in a qipao-like garment. Her wardrobe is rather scantily clad, revealing her shoulders and upper back while the rest was form-fitting. Her attire was dark pink coloring with a lining of purple, gray, and yellow, and a matching disconnected arm warmers that reach down to her light purple spandex shorts. She wears a pair of black low-heeled boots that reaches her calves. This is Fuka Uzumaki and one of the long-lived Uzumaki second to Irene. A beautiful young woman with long crimson hair reaching her waist and pink eyes. For someone her age, she has been noted for having a distinctly slender yet curvaceous figure with enormous, bouncy breasts and sizable buttocks. She is seen dressed in a white sailor uniform that has a black collar and black cuffs that has white horizontal stripes, an orange-colored tie hanged from the edges of her collar, a short black skirt that has a single white stripe, long black socks that has a red-colored ribbon around her upper thigh, and a pair of maroon-colored shoes. This is Mio Naru's Uzumaki. A girl with red eyes and very long, light coral-colored hair that is usually tied on both sides with ribbons in a variety of colors called the twin-tail hairstyle. She also has an anime antenna hair, a hamal, a hogue, that always sticks out on the top of her head. While wearing white ribbons, Kodori usually wears a white uniform with a black tie, a short teal-colored skirt, and long black stockings that reach up to half of her thigh. This is Kodori Uzumaki. A beautiful young woman with a voluptuous body, white skin, blue-green eyes, and a buxom figure. Her body measurements are B99, W58, H90 cm, IB39, W23, H35 in. Her body weight is 58 kilograms, 128 pounds. Her most distinctive feature is her long, beautiful crimson hair, which she also inherited from her father, that reaches down to her thighs with a single hair strand, known in Japan as a hoge, sticking out from the top. Her hair also has loose bangs covering her forehead and side bangs framing her face. Is 172 centimeters, 5 feet 8 inches, making her one of the tallest female characters. This is Rias Gremory Uzumaki. Has the Uzumaki swirl behind her coat. A young girl with red hair that is almost as long as her body and fiery crimson red eyes. She has an anime antenna hair, a hamala hoge, which always sticks out on the top of her head, wears a Chinese dress with the Uzumaki swirls. This is Shana Uzumaki, a slim young woman of below average height. She has long white hair which curls slightly at the ends, with 2 bangs framing her face and reaching down to her chest. Her hairstyle's most distinctive trait is a short, upward ponytail obtained by gathering and tying the hair covering her forehead. Due to her always adopting such fashion, her hair seems to have adapted to it, with the hair on her forehead remaining pointed upwards even when not tied. She has Tensigan eyes and a curvy, voluptuous body, with large breasts. This is Mirajane Strauss Otsutsuki, a young petite girl with short, white hair and Tensigan eyes, wearing a tank top with cross straps with a longer skirt. This is Liz and Strauss Otsutsuki and Mirajane's younger sister. A beautiful woman with long red hair, green eyes and red lips, wearing on what it appears to be a bikini made of leaves with the gloves and footwear made on the same leaves. This is Pamela Lillian Senju and one of the members to have with style. A teen that has shoulder-length light ocean blue hair that is tied in a ponytail with a purple-made headband that has 1 gold star on the left side, deep purple eyes, thick long black eyelashes and large breasts, in which she takes great pride in her big chest. Despite her soft, massive and bouncy breasts, she is also quite small as she is only 5 feet tall. She wears an almost plain long-sleeved white polo shirt with a red bow tie, plus a pale yellow-colored vest and a miniskirt. This is Kurumu Korono Senju, a beautiful and busty woman in her early/mid-30s with light blue hair and purple eyes. Has mid-back length or waist-length wavy hair that has a darkish color tint in her hair with bangs swept to the left. Having J-cup breasts. Wearing an outfit is a red mini dress that barely covers her ample cleavage. In the manga, her mini dress was shown to have spaghetti straps and a brown fur coat. She also has long, red nail polish-coated claws, is of decent height for her age, and wears a bright red strapless dress that is also specifically a mini dress in length, with black hem in the anime, and her coat is black that sparkles and shines, and has light tan fur on the collar. This is Uchiha Korono Senju and Kurumu's mom. A woman of average height with a curvaceous figure, also noted for her cat-like appearance, possessing cat-like eyes, nose, and mouth. Her brown hair is stylized into cat ears at her crown and tied into 2 ponytails at the base. Her face has 4 red whisker-like tattoos, wearing a choker with a bell attached onto it. Her attire consists of a purple hooded cape, long black and purple striped leggings, evening gloves, tight and small black briefs with a belt and boots. She seems to have no upper attire, leaving her black bikini top uncovered. She also has a tail attached to her briefs. This is Miliana Inuzuka, Sum's younger sister who was disowned by the clan due to being a cat lover. A dark-skinned woman, a revealing leather outfit, rippling muscles, and full of scars all over her body. Wearing an eye patch with sculpted-like face gives off a delinquent boss vibe. She completely feels like a female Amazon warrior from some fantasy story. In addition, she has beast-like ears and a tail like a tiger's. Her fur is very thick. This is Ghislaine Dodoldia Inuzuka, Sum's mother and former clan head of the Inuzuka clan. A young woman with short lavender hair that covers the right side of her face. She has 6 pupil-less, monochromatic red eyes, and sharp and pointed teeth. Her most noticeable physical trait is the mass located at her humanoid buttocks, which is that of a giant spider adorned with a large skull design on the back of its abdomen. She has black carapace covering her arms from the shoulders down, and long fingers with gauntlet-like plating on her hands that end in sharpened points. Her usual attire consists of a revealing halter top with shoulderless sleeves, and black and gold loincloth with a slightly frilly white trim. This is Ragnar Aburame, an exiled Aburame clan member due to her arachnid appearance. A woman with long black hair, also lightened in color, which reaches her lower back, and it is pulled back so it reveals more of her forehead and ears. Wearing a long salmon sarong skirt with a partially zipped navy blue leather vest with a V-neck line, and an image of the Nara symbol is printed on the left breast near the shoulder that exposed her stomach, sunglasses, pink high-heeled pumps, and a pink backpack. She wears sunglasses, which she hangs on her forehead. This is Nico Robin Nara, as despite not learning that shadow manipulation, she can create multiple arms of herself onto anything. She is a more active Nara like her cousin Yoshino. A woman that appears to be a slim, curvaceous young woman with long light pink hair and purple eyes. Her outfit consists of a white low-cut tank top that exposes both her midriff and cleavage, along with a pair of orange and black striped buckled shorts with long, thin suspenders. She also wears black high-heeled boots that reach up to her calves, with large laces coming from the openings, and a pair of hot pink and dark red stockings with a yellow sun-like motif on them. The hat she wears is a green furazurka with a light green lining, bright red lipstick on her lips, and wearing a brown fur jacket. This is jewelry Bani Akimichi, also known as the black hole due to how she eats and never gaining weight. A slender and well-endowed version of her plump self with her long purple hair left down, styled swirl-shaped markings on her cheeks and black lips. She has a large silver adornment in her hair and wears the standard Shinigami uniform, a white, long-sleeved haori. This is Hiriko Hikifune Akimichi, a petite woman commonly mistaken for being much younger than she really is. She has an adolescent face with emerald green eyes and green hair that naturally curls up on the ends. She wears a form-fitting black dress with long sleeves and 4 high-cut leg slits that show off her legs, and low-heeled black shoes. This is Tatsumaki Yamanaka, a young woman with a tall, slim, and curvaceous figure. She has chin-length, dark green hair styled into a bob, and her eyes are light green. Her main attire consists of a long white fur coat, a dark green form-fitting dress, thigh-high black boots, and several necklaces. This is Fubuki Yamanaka, younger sister of Tatsumaki Yamanaka, a woman wearing a black coat and gloves, but her black boots are more feminine and are heeled. Her bright, blonde hair is slicked back and about jaw length, with 2 long strands styled into distinctive antennae-like strands. Her eyes are cyan, and she is very slim with an hourglass figure when compared to other members due to her gender, though this belies her true strength. This is Laxrene Heikate, Kakashi's older sister, true clan heir of the Heikate clan, and true bearer of the indestructible white light chakra saber. A woman wearing a similar black coat like Laxrene with slightly pointed shoulders, closer-fitting sleeves, and heeled boots that Larxene wears, and the basic black gloves. Has blue eyes, hair is black. Her bangs part on a different side and has purple rectangular marking on her face. This is Zien no Era, a woman with long silver-colored hair. Her eyes are much more demonic as they have red irises with slit pupils, and her expressions are much more stern, serious, and sometimes cocky, and her fangs have also become much more pronounced than a normal human. Her breasts and buttocks grow considerably larger that they are too big for her clothing. Her shirt exposes a small portion of cleavage, while her skirt allows a healthy amount of her butt cheeks to slip out. This is Mocha Chinoike, one of the few known survivors since the Warring States period of the Chinoike clan from the Land of Lightning. A teen with shoulder-length light purple hair, blue eyes that has a bit of purple at the top, her pupils are blue, and she is always seen with a lollipop in her mouth that helps maintain her body temperature. She wears a light brown pleated checkered skirt, a white sweatshirt with long dark blue sleeves with a black singlet underneath, a yellow pendant, long dark and light purple striped stockings with white shoes, and a belt tied to her left leg. This is Mizore Yuki, a very youthful and gorgeous woman with purple-silver hair that is tied up in a bun with bangs that resemble Mizore's hair, blue-purple eyes, and a lollipop in her mouth, which keeps her body cool in warm climates. She wears a white kimono with a purple obi sash and tabi white socks with black Zora sandals. This is Tsurara Yuki, and also Mizore's mother. Juvia is a slender, teenage girl with azure blue hair, midnight blue eyes, snow skin complexion, and a curvaceous figure, wearing a sapphire blue coat, a cream-colored furry-trimmed navy blue shawl with a pure white teru bozu attached to it, as well as a matching Russian Cossack hat. This is Juvia Loxer Yuki, a teen with hair bleached blue. Her eyes are yellow, and her once white dress has darkened and become tattered. Her arms and legs have also begun to darken, and her hands are now black with red fingertips. This is Aqua Hozuki, a girl that has ivory skin and long, black hair usually tied in long twin tails. Her right eye is red-tinted while her left eye appears as a golden, inorganic clock face. Wears a dress made out of crimson and black frills, giving her the appearance of an elegant Gothic Lolita, with uneven twin tails. On her head, she usually wears a big crimson net bow to hold her hair. She also wears a red and black collar on her neck. Her height is stated to be 157 centimeters, and her 3 sizes are B85/W59/H87. This is Kurumi Karatachi and Yagura's sister. A young teenage girl with pink eyes and long pink hair styled in pigtails, 2 strands of hair hanging as frontal locks featuring a pair of red bows, and the back pigtails left bare. Her most common attire consists of a blue shirt with a ribbon on her chest accompanied by a blue skirt with high socks. This is Yuno Gasai Karatachi, a woman that has a well-proportioned figure. She is very tall and slender with long black hair that extends past her waist with locks of hair that frame her face down to her chin and shows off her high forehead, black eyes with long, voluminous eyelashes and pale skin. She has a narrow waist and very large breasts. Her 3 measurements are B111, W61, H91, B43.7 inch, W24.02, H35.83, making her breasts a J-cup, wearing a revealing red blouse that showed much of her chest and a loose sarong that exposed her long, slender legs with the green symbol of the Kuja adorned on it, along with a white cape sporting epaulets and red high heel pumps. This is Boa Hancock of the Hancock clan and Orochimaru's cousin that he never knew due to Danzo and Hiruzen's interference to make him the perfect ninja. Holy crap, that was a lot of descriptions, Shikaka shouted until Chome slapped him. Don't break the 4th wall, Shikaku, Chome retorted as Kuro created a dust-style chainsaw rumble to destroy the metal bars to free the prisoners as Naruto saw them. I can't believe that I had more family on Konoha right under my nose for years. Oh, that's it. Danzo will pay dearly, Naruto said angry until he saw Irene who pounces on him. Naruto? It is you. It's me, your grandmother, Irene said while hugging him as she stuffs her breasts at his face as he gains a boner. While the tailed beasts except for Shikaku and Katsumi felt that she was familiar to them. Is it weird to have a boner for my grandmother? Naruto asked as Katsumi shrugged. To an Uzumaki is pretty normal and I'm a tailed beast, Naruto, Katsumi said as Irene ignored that part. I can smell the residue of sex between you and the Uchiha, Irene said as whisper into his ear. I want you to ravage me because I haven't had sex for 30 years because of Danzo, thinking I was a trophy due to the seal I place on myself so that they can't even touch me, and if they did they die very painful. What do you say, can you handle a dragon? She said to Naruto, who got a massive nosebleed. I still got. Irene congratulated herself as Son Goku and Chome recognized her. We know you, you're Irene Belsirian Uzumaki, Son Goku and Chome said. Goku, how did you know this woman? Kuro asked. We'll explain later, Son Goku told her as they leave the nest. There are a few women still trapped here, Wendy said. How many? Naruto asked her. 4, she said. Which ones? Satsuki said. Kushina, Rin, Izumi, and Makoto, Wendy answered, which shocked both. What do you mean of Kushina? I was raised by her, he said with venom. Wait, I'm telling the truth because the Kushina you knew is a clone. Kind of like a homunculus but more advanced that has the same chakra signature and smell of the original and nearly perfect except in skills and personality, Ragnar said. How do you know that? Naruto asked since during his childhood Naruto was raised by a clone. Because I specialize in stealth and spying with help of my spiders that spy for me as they are more silent and efficient than my clan's Kakechus. Kushina is held separately like Izumi, Makoto, and Rin, Ragnar answered holding a bag with a spider nest inside with seals for more capacity, which she made herself. What did you say about Rin, Izumi, and my mom? Satsuki asked. I saw with my own eyes that Itachi killed her, that Izumi was on a mission from Nakoba, and that Rin died when Bakashi killed her with a Chidori, Satsuki said. Listen well, if you know of your clan's Kenjutsu Izanagi, right? Irene asked Satsuki, who nodded. It's a Sharingan Kenjutsu that sacrifices one eye to blindness to rewrite an injury or even death unless you replace your eye with another. What does that have to do with my mom? Satsuki asked. Easy, because she used it before her death to live, Irene answered. What? But you said that it blinds an eye after using it, Satsuki said. That only applies to normal Sharingan. However, if the Uchiha has a Manjikyu or the eternal variant when the colors are inverted, which is the pure version just like yours and Mikoto's, meaning that you won't get blind at all by overuse just like Uncle Indra. Just like yours are the eternal variant, the pinnacle of the Sharingan before the Rinnegan. Isn't that right, Katsumi? Irene said while glancing at Katsumi. How did you know my name? Katsumi asked Irene. I was there. Irene said silently like a whisper. Say that again. Katsumi said, narrowing her eyes. I was there when Hagoromo named you 10. Irene said, shutting her mouth when she referred the number. 10? I thought it was 9 of you from the 10 Tails. Yodo asked. Let's keep that for later. Irene said to Yodo, not wanting them to learn of the 10th being she is asking. How could you know when he made sure that no one watched him as he named us? Son Goku asked Irene. I was spying on him, okay? Irene retorted to Goku. If you knew, why you didn't help us back then? Shikaku said, angry. Because I was young and scared when you were created. He forbade me to raise and train you guys because he said that you would be fine since he made sure that people won't abuse chakra and because of a so-called prophecy. He even threatened me to even interact with you, that he nearly used his human path on me. Indra was right. Ninshu is a lost cause. However, I ran and asked a few members if they want to leave for a new leaf, while a few stayed due to Ajura's influence of Ninshu, as it was too late for them to see common sense. So with the ones I asked went with me as we made to an island with small whirlpools surrounding it, as I named it Yuzushiogakyure, the first hidden village to exist as a safe haven for the newly named Uzumaki clan. I have seen different clans forming and killing each other for the daimyo's amusement with the excuse of looking for information, as we wanted none of the unnecessary bloodshed unless provoked. Especially the Uchiha formerly known as the Indra clan and the Senju clan formerly known as the Ajura clan. I have seen 2 particular people acting like my father and uncle after a trigger event happens. Irene said, crying, while Naruto comforted her, as their opinion of Hagoromo made it lower than before because they had someone who had the decency to help us and forbade her to help all for a stupid prophecy of the toads. Especially when he threatened her and nearly killed her with the Rinnegan. He sounded just like Hiruzen all over. Naruto said with hatred leaking as he relates to the tailed beasts now than ever that they had someone who would give them love and care but were negated just for a stupid prophecy. Choosing the people than his own family. That's just blatant favoritism. I swear that if I see him, I will make Hagoromo pay for everything that he caused. Naruto with conviction in his voice. What was that trigger? Satsuki asked to make sure to notice the pattern. Their chakra chooses their champions each time, as most of them never even meet or die way earlier, like single digit earlier. Until 2 particular individuals, Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, who nearly made peace until something happened. The trigger is when the transmigrant of Indra realizes that people favor Ajura's transmigrant on something like, for example, surpassing Indra's. Irene said as Katsumi thought of something. No wonder I never sensed Madara's hatred before, as it happened after he was exiled from the village. Katsumi said. Who told you that? Gaia asked. Black Zetsu did when he was editing the stone tablet. Irene answered. You mean the tablet that my clan had as an heirloom? That he rewrote it for someone to free Kaguya. If he wanted that, why didn't he wrote the truth of her innocence? Satsuki said. Inside Naruto. Kaguya was seriously pissed that Hagoromo would do that to his own creations. He had the time to actually help Indra, but his kindness made him oblivious to her only son telling Indra the truth about herself, and Hagoromo told him that she was evil, that she only wants to steal chakra. Sure, what she did may be bad, but at least she gave mercy for those that were worthy, and she was all alone while her clan was finding her to kill her for betraying them when it was Ashiki who betrayed her first. Even when their chakra awaited for their champions to finish their feud for something as insignificant as to prove who is better than who. Kaguya made a smile that Satsuki was defending her. Even for what she did back then, Satsuki nor Naruto have bad feelings for Kaguya, as she has helped them become their true selves when no one did, as she accepted them for who they are. On another cell, there was a fair-skinned woman with long, straight black hair with bangs hanging on either side of her face to roughly frame her cheeks and wearing bandages on her face where her eyes are supposed to be. She wore a medical gown. This is Mikoto Uchiha, also the demonic flame princess of the Sharingan, for being the most powerful Uchiha since Madara. She is blind now due to Danzo taking her eyes. When Satsuki saw her, she gasped. Mom, Satsuki said to her. Who's there? She asked as Satsuki hugged her and cried. My daughter, Mikoto said with happiness to reunite with her daughter. Satsuki? Another woman asked who has long brown hair with bangs framing her face, onyx eyes with a mole under the right eye and is wearing a medical gown. This is Izumi Uchiha, ex-girlfriend of Itachi, gay for Shursui, Uchiha and a half Uchiha who was kidnapped by Root during a mission while Danzo used one of his drones a fake when Itachi was killing his clan. She awakened her Sharingan when Katsumi killed her father by accident and gained the Manjikyu when she saw her real daughter who she is next to her, who she named her Sarada who is now 4 years old. Izumi, you are alive? But how? She asked her. Danzo's drones kidnapped me while I was at Nakoba on a mission. She said as Satsuki saw the baby and asked to carry her but began to cry when Sarada sees Satsuki. She reminds me of you when you were a baby when I wanted to carry you. Izumi said as Satsuki saw Sarada with a 1 Tomo Sharingan eyes. She will ask that later. We need to get out of here, Satsuki told them. We can't yet, Makoto said. Why not, Mom? Satsuki asked. Because Danzo has my eternal Sharingan eyes, Mikto answered as Satsuki gulped. Naruto, we have a problem, Satsuki thought through telepathy. What problem? Naruto thought. I found my mom and Izumi, but Danzo has my mom's eyes on his right arm, and they are the pure eternal variant, Satsuki thought as he sends the orders to his wood clones. Meanwhile, with the wood clones, as Danzo, his fuck buddies, and his remaining drones were looking at something small but iconic. I don't know. It looks like a fat yellow rat, Danzo said, pointing at Pikachu, who didn't like that answer, calling her a fat rat. She starts charging up. Pikachu! Danzo and his buddies dodged the attack but not his remaining men. Poor bastards. They were fried to a crisp, Katsumi said with an evil smile on her face. That rat can shoot lightning? Danzo said. My lord, we need to leave before that rat fires at us again, Fuyamanaka said to his leader as Toryun did a hand sign as the ground shoot up blocking that tunnel. The wood clone's purpose for this is to take Danzo's right arm and seal it for later for the originals. Naruto, as planned, summoned more of his Pokemon to aid them, especially his Dragon, Dark, Steel, Rock and Fire types against Fuyamanaka and Toryun Aburame as they destroyed the Chakra-made Earthwall. Danzo tried to use Shursue's ability, but all he got was an iron head by Scrafty in the nuts that he somehow still has. The perfect genjutsu, and it doesn't affect this lizard? Danzo said, surprised, not knowing that after Danzo showed his arm filled with Sharingan and Hashirama cells was cut by Shinobi as Dialga frees time to cut it carefully without damaging and replace it with a fake. As Dialga, who gave the signal to Scrafty, who uses Focus Blast at Danzo towards a concrete wall while knocking to nearly fainted and wanted to use his Reverse Force Seal to take them to his corpse but couldn't as black and green chains holds his body as it suppresses his chakra. My men were right, Danzo said to the group while Naruto, Satsuki and Katsumi were glaring at him. This group called Black Sun, I presumed, Danzo said. How so you heard about us? Naruto asked in sarcasm. I know about the destruction of Suna from one of my informants who all died except one to bring me the message, Danzo said. Sorry. Not sorry about your men that were replaceable to you, Naruto said, grinning. Join me so we can conquer the elemental nations and this world together, Danzo said to Naruto while he tightened the chains more. I am not someone's attack dog and I will never follow this corrupted village, Naruto said, which hits a nerve to Danzo. Everything I've done is for the greater good of Konoha, Danzo proclaimed. At least we don't need an illusion of false promises like you, and we would never join a village re-established by the so-called will of fire of Tobarama Senju, Katsumi said as it pissed Danzo off. You take that back, you bitch. He was a hero. He was the father I never had, but he chose that dumbass Hiruzen to lead the village when it should have been me, Danzo said, trying to defend Tobarama. Damn. Someone been up Tobarama's ass. Probably smelled his seat to get off with the smell, Naruto thought to himself. Oh yeah, a hero he was. A warmonger he was. He was worse than Madara Uchiha. I know because I was there, Katsumi yelled. Was there? You're the Nine Tails? He said, trying to free himself as he did since Naruto let him go. Another one, it must be my lucky day. Now obey me, Nine Tails, he said, using Shursue's Sharingan to control her, but doesn't, as Katsumi was yawning. Why isn't this eye working at all? Danzo said as red chains came out from Karen as it was burning Danzo briefly as Naruto rips Shursue's eye from the socket as Danzo was screamed. Ah, you bitch! And Uzumaki? But how? They should all be dead, as I made sure of it, and that the only Uzumakis I have here are females inside the nest, Danzo said without his right eye as it was hollow. The group was laughing at Danzo's demise. We already about the nest, Satsuki said, which shocked Danzo. Who are you? He asked them. We are the Black Sun. Naruto, Satsuki and Katsumi shouted in unison as Naruto taps Danzo's forehead, so light on the outside, but on the inside it was slowly scrambling Danzo's brain as that light tapped to read all of Danzo's memories from his birth until now while leaving Danzo brain dead. FYI, we are only wood clones. Ciao, Naruto said as the wood clone Yodo has the sealing scroll containing Danzo's mutated arm for the originals, while the wood clone Gaia sealed Danzo's corpse for later use as the rest dispersed. Meanwhile, with the real ones, they neared to a highly secured door until someone ambushed Naruto as he uses his new and improved Kusanagi sword that can even cut truth-seeking orbs materials. He saw the woman with a porcelain mask that looks like a cat and has long purple hair. She is wielding a sword. Fuck, this woman is fast. How the hell she knows the Uzumaki sword style? Naruto said as the attacker show a second sword and slices Naruto's shirt. What the fuck, she is a dual wielder, Naruto said using his sword to defend himself. Naruto somehow destroy her swords. She dropped her broken swords. Right poach, she took out a kunai and charged straight on. Naruto grabbed her right arm. When she missed her target, Naruto flipped her on her back and did arm lock using his legs, bending her wrist until it broke as she screams in pain. Naruto released the arm lock using his left foot. He mule kick her in the face, breaking the mask, which reveals herself as Yugao Yuzuki. Yugao rolled to her side. She looked up at her attacker. When Naruto saw her emotional face, he knew who she was. Yugao, what happened to you? He asked, said, showing her broken right wrist as she charged again, this time with a side kick. Naruto caught the side kick and used the movement and speed and slammed her knee to the ground, breaking her knee. Yugao, stay down and let me help you, Naruto said in concern. Must protect Root. Long live Root, she said like a recorder as she charges at Naruto as Satsuki came behind Yugao and knocked her out. Naruto, what are you doing to Yugao? Satsuki asked. Stocky, there is something wrong with her, he said as he opened her mouth, showing a seal on her tongue. Oh hell now, Naruto said as he bit his tongue to show his blood, using it as a medium to write on her tongue. Uzumaki style, Dark Seal Destroyer, he shouted as the technique destroyed Yugao's seal on her tongue. Yugao, can you hear me? He said as she suddenly huged him. Thank you, she said with happiness that Naruto destroyed the seal on her tongue. Yugao, I got a question for you. How do you even get captured and brainwashed by Danzo? Naruto asked. Well, it all started, she said. Flashback. As Yugao became apprentice of the Kushina Uzumaki, also known as the Red Hot Habanero, she learned the Uzumaki-style kenjutsu from her and absorbed it like a sponge, even learned how to recognize patterns of people. As the years go by, as she was training to be in the ANBU like her father was as they served the Hokage directly. It all changed after someone released the 9 Tails from Kushina. Yugao knows about Katsumi due to Kushina telling her in secret. Recently, Kushina has become staler and sloppier on her movements and neglected Naruto in favor of Arashir and Menma. Therefore, she made an oath to protect Naruto directly from the shadows, as she knew that just because he has the soul of the 9 Tails doesn't make him the beast itself. That made her suspicious since the Uzumaki clan never neglect each other as their creed is ingrained on their very DNA. Until one time she got nosy and saw Kushina acting like a droid while Minato was ranting about a prophecy until a root nin knocked her out as Danzo saw her potential and turned her into a root nin and placed a silencing/loyalty seal on her tongue. Her mission is to spy and gather samples of Naruto Uzumaki to have powerful Uzumaki under his sole command. End of flashback. And that how I ended up here. Behind that door is the real Kushina. Can someone carry me? She said as she fell asleep. She'll be all right now, she'll lived, he said. As Naruto opens the door, he saw someone that despite raised by a clone of her as old feelings resurface. They see a woman with long red hair and a table bound with chakra chains in a spread eagle position. She has seals all around her to nullify her hearing and sight because she was cussing up a storm as Root Nin got tired of her cussing, so that's why they placed silencing seals on her as Naruto released the chains and seals. Mom, Naruto asked her as she heard who it is. Sochi, Kushina as him as they both cried as they hugged each other as Irene and Katsumi smiled at the heartwarming moment. Even you are here, Mom, Natalia, Wendy, Urza and Akasha? Kushina said to her mom and sisters while Katsumi seeing the reunion and the emotions as she envied the Uzumaki for being loyal to each other. As Kushina saw her. Who are you? Kushina asked Katsumi, who moved her Aisa's Haku and Karen were healing her. Calm down, Kushina. You need to wait a little for your eyes to heal, Karen said. But first we need to get rid of the clones of you, Kushina, Ragnar said as Kushina's hair started to float like 9 tails. What did you say? Kushina asked demonically. That Danzo made clones of you that can carry babies and other things, she answered. What other things? She asked again. Jiraiya things, Naruto said as Kushina did one thing to calm her down now. She killed her clones mercilessly as Black Sun watched while Makoto helped her with help of her perfect mini Susanoo armor. Since Makoto had already used it more than once, she doesn't need her eyes to activate it as hers was like Madara's, but sky blue and more feminine. That is so hot. Hey, wait a minute, where is Delta? Naruto asked since Delta wasn't present with them. With Delta? She sensed someone in stasis but something familiar like Shikaku or Son Goku. She saw a naked woman with tubes on her body. A woman with straight brown hair, which was cut in a chin-length bob that frames her face and also has a rectangular purple marking on either sides of her cheeks. Who is this? She asked herself as she saw medical notes of her. Rin Noera of Konoha, Chunin rank and Jinchuriki of 3 tails, she said and gasped as she continues reading. Given birth to a baby girl of 7 months, baby number 67897 has Uchiha and Uzumaki DNA from subject A and subject B. Eggs sliced in half. Sperm obtained by Naruto Uzumaki at age 7. Sample was collected at Namikaze residential by root Nin code named Jaguar. Oh shit. Naruto was raped, she said as she is trying to communicate with him. With Naruto. Naruto, do you hear me? She asked. I'm kind of busy here. What do you need? He asked her. Do you remember anything that happened to you when you were 7? She asked. I don't recall. Why? He said. I think in ANB you got a sample of your sperm, she said. Say what? He shouted with his eyes flaring as they flashed to her location through the shadows. Delta showed him the file thinking if the ANBU was a boy or a girl. Luckily, it was a girl that it was Yugao, while Satsuki was fuming because Yugao gave Naruto a handy before her as Naruto looked at Katsumi. Katsumi, do you remember this? Naruto asked his lover. I didn't care back then because I was still pissed when I was sealed again, plus my senses were blocked by it, she told him. Maybe Kaguya knows about it. However, she was mostly powerful during a full moon. Naruto said as Delta used an electric shock to wake Rin up and showed that her eyes are now crimson with red pupils. Did she just showed those eyes? Samui asked. Yes, she has Isabu inside of her still, Delta said. Where am I? Rin asked as her eyes became brown. You're at Root HQ. What was the last thing you remembered? Satsuki asked. Well, I was at Kiri when some old guy that had his right eye covered by his white hair sealed me a tailed beast and put a cursed seal in my heart as I ran away as some white people with green hair changed into Kiri Nin, and as I escaped I saw Kakashi using the Chidori since the cursed seal doesn't let me kill myself and it would have unleashed Isabu inside Konoha, so I sacrificed myself for Konoha that we somehow survived and the rest I don't know, but I think Isabu knows, but he is still sleeping. Rin explained. So that's guy with the one-eye mask wasn't Madara at all. Then who was it? Kimiko asked angrily since her clan died because some person used the Sharingan on her clan to destroy Kiri and walked scot-free for some girl that he was infatuated with. It wasn't Madara, it was Obito Uchiha, Naruto said, which Satsuki nodded. Crybaby Obito was the one to unleash 9 tails that night? Kushina asked. He was taught by none other than Madara Uchiha, who survived by using a delayed Izanagi after he bit Hashirama's arm to take his flesh to gain with style, and the basic Rinnegan after 50 years nearing the end of his natural life. He kidnapped you after he used his Sharingan to control Isabu and sealed him into you with a cursed seal, and even used Kakashi as a way to awake Obito's Manjikyu as he killed the disguised White Zetsus as Obito lost his way for Madara to manipulate him. But I don't get is that Kakashi killed you and you had Isabu who specializes in using coral not massive healing. Satsuki explained, as Rin could know that is true since it was too detailed to lie. How did you know? Rin asked her. Because I had his memories as I had Indra's chakra like he did. Satsuki said in shame despite that she was not Madara but saw what he did when Black Zetsu persuaded him. Not that they blame Black Zetsu for what he did since it was Tobirama who pushed Madara to his madness, as Black Zetsu just wants to free his mother Kaguya just as they want now. Where would we go now then? Since we're practically missing Nins and Shangri-La may be a safe haven for missing Nins but some of them would betray each other for their bounties. Ada said. I have the perfect place where you can all be safe from harm. Irene answered. Which is? They all asked. Our motherland, Uzushio-gakure. Irene said as Kushina flinched. As Irene took out her staff from a seal hidden on her cleavage, as she casted a teleportation spell to teleport them all to Uzushio-gakure. Uzushio-gakure. Irene used her magic to teleport Black Sun and company to Uzushio-gakure, and what they saw was horrifying as corpses were everywhere from shinobis, civilians, children, and even pregnant women. Katsumi vomited at the sight of carnage and Satsuki too since this was worse than her clan's massacre. Judging by the earth that absorbed the blood, I would say that it lasted approximately 5 months. Toph said, which shocked Satsuki, that the Uzumaki give their all for 5 months straight while Itachi killed my clan mostly off guard with a Beto at one night. Why would they do this? Delta said, shocked even with a temper and sadistic tendencies that mellow out. This is just wrong, as they saw discarded headbands. IWA. Azula said. Kumo Samui said. Taki. Fu said. Suna. Gaia said. Yuga. Satsuki. Mizu. Yuno said. Konoha. Kushina said, shocked at holding a Konoha headband, as the others saw more from different villages as Kuro asked Goku something. Okay people, let's get to my palace since it was the only place that is mostly intact from here. Irene said as they got to the palace that was huge but simple as she smeared her blood on an invisible barrier as it recognized her. Welcome back, Lady Irene. A voice said, which was an AI, Maria Hill from Avengers, named Uzi, who greeted Black Sun. Thanks Uzi, she said to her AI as they stepped into a grand palace, which is much more advanced than the Land of Snow and Skies technology. Wow, this is way more amazing than Jigen's stuff, Ada said, amazed. It has nearly everything, even space up to 10 tails size in tree form. Shikaku said, impressed, turning into his true size to stretch his sandy limbs as Son Goku and Chome soon follow. Yujito, you should join them and ask Naruto to free me from the seal, so you can ravage him without holding you back, Matatabi told Yujito as she blushed. Well, since I was alone here during the invasion with Uzi, and I want some company so you can all live her with me, and there is unlimited space here, and if you want more ladies to join, I don't mind at Naruto-kun. Irene said, flirting to Naruto until Kushina took him away from her. Mom, control yourself, he is only a teenager, Kushina said, blushing. Oh, stop being a prude, sister, so you can have him all to yourself, Natalia said, teasing her sister as Kushina glared at Natalia. How can you all be calm about it? She asked. You didn't sense the tremors all over the nations? Those were some powerful seals, Naruto said. What tremors? She asked as Ragnar whispered to her as Kushina's face turned red like a certain fruit that I will not utter if I want to live unharmed, as 2 certain Hyugas sneezed. Goku, remember when you said that you were here? What were you referring to? Kuro asked him. Because we were there, he said in shame. What? Kuro asked. Because we're there, Kuro, Matatabi, Isabu, Kokuo, Saiken, Chome, Yuki and I, when we're inside of our past Jinchurikis, Goku answered. I thought that Uzushio-gakure was destroyed by Kumo, Iwa, and Kiri. Gaia said since her father told her that story to her siblings before Yashimaru's suicide. Suddenly Irene spoke. That is not the full story. We were attacked not just by those 3 villages but all of them, even the minor ones, and even Konoha, due to fear of our sealing arts, Irene said as everyone gaps, even Shikaku and Katsumi. What do you mean all of them, Grandma? Naruto asked as Irene pinched his cheek. Don't call me that again because it makes me sound old. But first let me tell you a story about my father Ajura Otsutsuki, she said as Satsuki did a spit take through water jutsu. What? Satsuki yelled that the woman who is Naruto's grandmother is the founder of the Senju clan, Ajura Otsutsuki's daughter, she said as Katsumi held her. It all started when my father became the heir of Ninshu after grandfather Hagoromo selected him despite Uncle Indra had good reasons to lead, since father was too all-forgiving for his health and never saw the hidden emotions of people wielding chakra. It became worse when Indra was acting weird and more distant that I asked what is wrong and told me that Hagoromo made a grave mistake of giving people chakra, but they told him that he was being paranoid. Before he left, he told me a few words. Gather people who you can actually trust and leave elsewhere for your own good, Irene. His last words were, I have to kill my brother before it's too late, as my father has poisoned his mind with everlasting peace through only love bullshit speech. Irene explained as Satsuki stared at her. Is that what Black Zetsu said to Indra? Telling him the truth about Hagoromo sharing chakra with humans and the consequences of it. She thought to herself. For 3 things. Fear of our sealing arts and vitality, greed and Katsumi. Irene said. Me? Katsumi asked, wiping her mouth. Yes, you. Since you were the only tailed beast that was a sensor type of the highest caliber, emotion sensing. Which gave you the advantage from the others, as you can beat the first 7 in your fox form alone with brute strength since you are 50% of the 10 tails. Irene said to the group. You're the 9 tails. Kushina pointed at her. Yeah, so what? What are you going to do, seal me? It won't work since they got rid of that weakness and I now have these. Katsumi said to her as she showed her chakra chains and created trees form the ground. Why aren't you rampaging like Mito said before she sealed you in herself? Kushina said as Irene face palmed herself. Since when has a tailed beast assaulted people before? Now answer that. Katsumi said as Kushina tried to think. I don't know, she said, trying to answer the question. Exactly, you don't know because when never done it on our own free will. I can't believe that you fell for the senju crap of the will of fire. Katsumi told her, and this causes her to have doubts. The village is like a family to me, Kushina said until Naruto laughed madly. Good one, Kushina. That the village is like a family of backstabbers. Naruto said, throwing her a file of Kumo's attempt of kidnapping her. What's this? She asked. One of the various secrets that Danzo had on his office en route, he said as she read it. It can't be Kumo wasn't trying to kidnap me because of my chakra chains. It was root Neens disguised at Kumo Neens to make me loyal to Konoha to not know that truth about Yuzu's fall, she said as Naruto handed something to Yujito. Was this a photo of 2 babies? Yujito asked Naruto until Kushina saw it. I know that baby. That was Minato when he showed that photo he had for keepsake when he was an orphan. Weird, I have the same background as the photo with that baby next to me, Yujito said as she showed her photo before they sealed Matatabi on her. As they put it together, they gasped. You're my aunt and him is your brother? Naruto said. So my last name isn't Ni, then what is? She asked, as there was a message behind the photo on the side of Minato's image as Naruto read it and froze. Minato Senju. I thought it was Namikaze. Oh god. Now it all makes sense about everything, and that makes you part Senju Naruto, Satsuki said. It can't be. Now wonder I have more chakra than the whole village without counting having Katsumi's soul on me formerly, and that I had Ajura's chakra before. That Jiraiya and Hiruzen knew, he said angrily. Wait a minute. I get the Naruto had Ajura's chakra inside of him. But how come I didn't sense it all before? Katsumi said, which is offensive for censors not to sense an old and familiar chakra. I can explain that. Is that when father beat uncle, he swore to win even after death that he ran away. Since their chakra are difficult to detect because they mixed with their chosen champions at birth to avoid suspicion as they lack emotion, as they have just a one-track mind like a machine that is programmed for its purpose of uncle craving for power even after killing the other when it really is to make Ajura's champion see reason while dads make his champions gullible and all forgiving even if you rape or abuse them. Irene said with disgust of the last part as Naruto gritted his teeth while Satsuki was saddened while Yujito was going to say something. I'm your aunt, but I like you, Naruto, since you had the decency to consider me as a person than a being holding a tailed beast, Yujito said, holding Naruto's hands as she blushed. We now know that you're my aunt, but who cares if we are related, since when I free Matatabi from you I will modify you into a pure-blooded Otsutsuki. Just like Uzumaki, your children won't suffer from birth defects, he said to her, who again was blushing madly. Beside what you two do, return to Kumo so that they have more reason to dispose of you to seal Matatabi on your own sister, just to have a more loyal Jinchuriki that won't question the higher-ups as they wait for one slip-up to begin the cycle. As Otsutsuki we destroy anyone who opposes us and be the only ones with the chakra to control unopposed. Are you 3 in? Naruto said with his eyes glowing, meaning that he was serious, as the area became briefly cold as Sarada was going to cry and stopped as he was calming her down. What do I do, Matatabi? Yujito asked her. is what you decide, Yujito. As he brings good points that surpasses the bad ones, as he said that if you join him he will make you immortal and kill those who have wronged and ridiculed you for having me without we having a saying, and don't forget that Konoha sold you to Kumo before you had me, and his father who is your brother neglected him, and Uzumaki who were one of the nicest people that me and siblings have ever met that we killed against our wills, and our creator threatened the first person who wanted to shower us with love and attention that we craved for instead of just existing to avoid reviving our grandmother Kaguya, and a giant tree abomination with the purpose of destroy life for a measly fruit. Think about it, Yujito. Matatabi told her as Yujito smiled. You know what count me in Naruto, Yujito said. So am I, since this will be so cool, Samui said, agreeing with her sister as Katsumi yelled something. Now I remembered who Indra was, Katsumi interrupted. You do? Irene asked. Don't be alarmed because I ate him, Katsumi said bluntly. You ate him, Satsuki said, shaking her. How would I know, since Hagoromo never even let us meet them at all? Therefore, I couldn't recognize him by chakra alone. He tried to use his Sharingan at me to become his Jinchuriki against my will like the 3 times it happened, so I ate him, and after that my siblings and I had to part ways to avoid the humans who want to capture us until you know who, Katsumi said. Katsumi, I'm sorry for what happened, Satsuki trying to apologize her. Don't worry, Satsuki, you are not Indra, you only had his chakra until Kaguya stopped it, Katsumi said as she kissed Satsuki. There is one more thing I want to know about, he asked Rin. Since Sarada is my daughter with Izumi, he said, and Izumi nodded while Sarada hugged Naruto as he lifted Sarada. Then who is my baby with you? Naruto asked while Rin showed him a photo of a little girl with long crimson red hair and bright purple eyes. You got to be kidding me, Naruto said as his hair turned into a train whistle as Satsuki and Katsumi saw the picture, as both fainted when they a picture of Narumi. Look, Sarada, you have a sister now, Izumi said, showing her Narumi's picture. She's my other granddaughter? Kawaii, Kushina said while looking at the picture and hugging Sarada, who was blushing as everyone's sweat dropped, even the ones who fainted. Yuzushiogakure Black Sun Home/HQ. Inside Naruto's new room that has a bed big enough for a harem of 10, which he shares with Satsuki and Katsumi as the 3 woke up. Ugh, I that a bad dream that Narumi is my daughter, he said groggily. Nope, it's true, all right, that she is our daughter, Rin said bluntly, surprising them. So that's why she never had the whiskers before, Katsumi said, waking up. What do you mean by that? He asked. When someone seals me inside them, they become a pseudo-Jinchuriki but not have the capacity to use my chakra, she explained. If that what happened, how come Mito never had the problem before? Satsuki asked. She had children before sealing me with her chains, and she had 7 of them when I roamed through her memories until she used Tailed Beast Transfer to switch me into Kushina before she died of poison. I never knew who poisoned her or why, since it never let me heal her, Katsumi said as Naruto thought about why someone would poison Mito and for what purpose. As Toph and Azula woke up next, since they had the night of their life and gained their marks and are also Otsutsuki, not that no one noticed since they all still look normal as age is irrelevant to them. I never thought that sex with you was vigorous, I owed Kuro 100 Rios, Azula said to Toph, who was still panting. Make it 200, Azula said again as in Son Goku's room Kuro grinned with her eyes closed while bathing in lava. Can you keep it down, Naya? Matatabi said in her human form. Matatabi is now a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous figure, long black hair with split bangs, and hazel gold eyes with cat-like pupils, since her heterochromia eyes would make her obvious. Her body measurements are B98, W57, H86 cm, B39, W23, H35 in, height is 161 centimeters, 5 feet 3 inches, and body weight is 49 kilograms. Her attire consists of a black kimono, a yellow obi, a set of golden beads, and an ornately detailed headband. The kimono features a red interior and it is open at her shoulders, giving view to her large breasts, which rival those of Rias, Kushina, and Makoto. That is the stamina of training hard until my ass comes off, he said. I believe after what you did to Kuro after her first date, Toph said. She wouldn't. T stopped blabbing about the size and power of it, Azula said while Naruto blushed. In my defense, she had a lot of pent-up emotions after knowing that I was the boogeyman's son, he said, referring to Minato. I can't believe that my brother is still alive and now is pervert who reads porn even with that face. He still is a loner as he brought shame to our clan name. Lax Renee said by the door. I thought that you would defend your brother. Naruto asked her. Nah. It stopped after Danzo killed our dad Tsukumo and made it look like a suicide to put Kakashi in line and only goes by the rules that the missions are what only matters. He only had the fake white light chakra saber while I got the real one so that the Warhawk wouldn't get it, she said. Clever girl. Irene said, who was naked as the day she was born just like the other girls, since is a rule that inside their home is be naked unless training time, when is busting your ass off serious and or children present. So what would we return to Konoha to continue the exams since my team and Kimiko's passed the second part of the exam? Gaia asked, since having ranks doesn't matter, it's having the power to back it up. I don't think you want that, especially for you, Kin. A voice said as they saw Kaguya's spectral form in front of them. Aunt. Irene said, since like herself she doesn't like to be called grandma. That's your great-grandma, she doesn't even look old at all, and it's that a Sharingan mixed with the Rinnegan of the Sage of Six Paths? Mikoto said while checking with her EMS to see that it's real, while Naruto looked angry at her, referring Hagoromo. Yes, Mikoto, this is Kaguya Otsutsuki, the progenitor of Chakra on Earth and the mother of Hagoromo, ancestor of the Senju, Uchiha and Uzumaki clans, and Hamura, also known as the Man on the Moon who never even talked to his mother, and the ancestor of the Hyuga and Kaguya clans. The biggest GILF of the planet. Naruto explained while Kaguya blushed as a big carrot came out of her ass. The girls raised their eyebrows. What was that? Never mind. How come you can be seen out of me now? He asked her. Well, it's because this is the only place that Hagoromo can't check on me at all, since we aren't on the planet, but on a separate dimension like Kamui. She explained. What do you mean about him checking on you? Katsumi asked, growling. After Hagoromo and Hamura sealed me, he tried to redeem my sins, as he traveled the planet to repair the damage I made as the Ten Tails. Before he and Hamura sealed me, I used some of my power to create Black Zetsu, also known as my will, to free me by recreating the Rinnegan. However, since he trained Indra and told him the truth about humans using my chakra, he tried to reason with Azura, but Hagoromo poisoned his mind with his ideals. Not even making him decide for himself, as everyone thought that Indra went crazy for power as he made his chakra to make Azura's chakra to see reason, as only their chakras are one of the two ways needed to recreate Hagoromo's Rinnegan, which is the basic form, until Hashirama and Madara nearly made peace, until Tobirama demanded democracy instead of only selecting Madara, who had the reason to be Hokage, as power is also needed to rule but also kindness. After that, Hashirama never killed anyone and gave Chome to Taki after Kakuzu attempted to kill him, while Madara stayed in the shadows extracting white zetsus from my sealed body, thinking that they were Hashirama's clones from the piece of flesh. He bit off him as he put his brother's eyes on an Uzumaki from aim to continue his work later if Obito fails, and even planned to destroy the Rinnegan using seals that he planted on them if someone uses them against him. Kaguya said as she continued. So after he died of constantly using Six Paths chakra due to being part human, he created the 10 of you from my chakra, so that I wouldn't be revived, and as he died his chakra and consciousness stayed watching everything but doing nothing at all. Kaguya explained as Katsumi clenched her fists. All this time he was watching us suffer as his own descendants backstabbed us like we were mere objects to play as toys, and he just stood there watching like the cuckolder he is, Chome said, buzzing in anger. And Hashirama captured us and sold us like slaves without us having to explain, Guko said with his lava cloak on. I can't believe that I was technically them, Naruto said with disgust, while Satsuki sat on a corner while Sarada was comforting her. So what do we do now? Kin asked. Try to make blood clones of them, Kaguya answered. Why? Kimiko asked. Because I foresee that Orochimaru didn't tell everyone his full plan? Right, Kimiko and Tayuya? Kaguya asked as they stiffened. What do you mean about the rest of the plan? Kin asked. That when Orochimaru marked Shin to kill your team to test the mark's power was to actually kill your team, and that he wouldn't cure Kimiko's disease was her own bloodline, because if she was cured she would just leave him. He also would never cure some person named Jugo. That he would use Kin if you lose your round as a sacrifice to revive one of the vilest and despicable being that have walked over the face of the earth, who is more vile than Ishiki, that he would backstab his whole clan for power for himself under the excuse of protecting the village. Kaguya said as Kin gulped, and Kimiko was pissed that the snake would betray her, and she was devoted to him. Who is the S-rank fucker you're talking about? Tayuya asked. Tobirama Senju and Naruto, this is something that will shock you to the core, Kaguya said with dramatic flair. Why? He asked demonically. He's your great-grandfather, and that Jiraiya is your grandfather Naruto. she stated to him as he calmly left their home, hovering out as profanities were heard as Izumi covers Sarada's ears, while Tayuya was turned on by Naruto. Wow, I can't believe that I'm directly related to those three idiots, Naruto said as he came back. Okay, now I understand on why I had Azura's chakra before, he said, calming down. Even they would use Gaia to destroy Konoha as a distraction because they think that she is still a Jinchuriki, while Arashi and Menma would try to defeat her by using 1,000 years of death with a kunai attached with an explosive tag on Gaia's ass, Kaguya said as it made Naruto extremely pissed. The only fingers that will be inside of Gaia's body are from me and my harem. The only ones who will destroy Konoha is us for everything they did to us, Naruto shouted as Gaia blushed. Well, how about if you create more durable clones while Kins be an explosive one with a timer when the snake summons Tobirama and his bitch brother, Kaguya said as Naruto grinned to liking the idea. Meanwhile, you stay as me, Satsuki, Katsumi and Irene head there to supervise the clones in the background as C potential candidates. You just want to add more girls into our group, don't ya? Ada asked. So? I mean, his stamina is infinite and all of us deserve the love and attention we need, Kaguya said while Naruto used his puppy eyes. Okay, fine, you win, and besides you need to repopulate the Otsutsuki clan as a fresh start, Delta said as Shikaku looked at Naruto and nodded. Say, Gaia, do you want to meet you mom? Naruto asked her as she got a wishful look. Do you think you can revive her? She asked him with hope. Of course we can. Satsuki and I will help, he said as Satsuki nodded. How can you revive her, Naruto? She asked him as he pointed at Shikaku. Gaia, when you had me sealed inside you, they sealed me when you were 5 months premature, as Chio sealed me in you before you were planned to be born, with only a storage seal that made me have full control of you. If it weren't for Matsuri and Yodo, you would have become a psychotic monster as your father's own lapdog at his disposal until death, all because of Hiruzen's fault, he said, which made her cry. However, your mother knew the consequences as she did something similar to Kaguya, that she put chakra on the sand of your gourd to protect you while using my chakra as supplement. That it what I call a mother's love to a T, as it reminded me of Bunpuku as the man reminded of what Hagoromo should have been, Shikaku said, hiding his tears. Gaia nodded in happiness as she carried her old gourd, since she can create sand out of nothing. Let's go to Shikaku's room to revive her. Shikaku's room. Similar to Gaia's mindscape and has a cave dome for Shikaku to sleep in. As Shikaku knew about her as Naruto saw his memories to have a clear image of Karura. Creation of all things, Naruto shouted, clapping his hands to channel Yin-Yang chakra as fiery white chakra burned brightly with life energy. It slowly began to grow to Karura's size as the white energy shaped itself into human form, as the chakra turned into cells, tissues, organs, blood, bones, skin and so on into an exact copy of Karura's body is fully formed, as by using this technique her soul merged automatically with her body as the white chakra fades away. With Naruto being pure-blooded Otsutsuki, he is better using it than Hagoromo's, since the tailed beasts lacked organs until Kaguya restored all of Katsumi's chakra and made updates to them, as Katsumi is the only one aware of so far. As everyone was amazed. Yes, this is the very technique that created us from Kaguya's very chakra. However, Naruto created it from scratch, and I sensed that he added bonuses to her too, Shikaku said as Naruto created a robe for her, as Shikaku in his normal size hold her and put her on a sand cloud he made. He made you look like child's play, no offense, Tayuya said. None taken, since our appearances looked like it was made by impulse and lack of quality, the tailed beast said as Karura woke up, as the first thing she see is Shikaku. Shikaku, what are you doing out? She asked him as he pointed down towards Gaia. Who are you? She asked her daughter. Mom, is that you? Gaia asked her as she hugged Gaia as they both had tears of joy. My sweet little daughter. But how are you alive without Shikaku? She asked as Gaia went towards Naruto and kissed him passionately. Mom, and want you to meet my boyfriend Naruto, my first friends Matsuri and Yodo, and my harem sisters, Gaia said with pride as Karura gasped. Are all you okay with this? She asked as the females, except Sarada, nodded. As she looks at Naruto. When can I expect grandbabies to spoil? She asked as he had a nosebleed, since this is the first time someone asked that. Mom, you were revived in less than an hour, Gaia said, blushing like a certain Hyuga. What, you want join my group and harem? Naruto said, acting dense with a foxy grin. What, you're asking me to join you, little harem? Ask me in at least 4 years, since I just got started to live again, Karura said to him. I wonder if I'm a virgin with this body. Karura said, checking herself as Naruto blushed and coughed as Karura composed herself. So what was my purpose, to revive me? She asked as Naruto explained his plan to destroy the Shinobi system. At first, she was against it, but she also wanted revenge on her ex-husband for cursing her youngest daughter to be his weapon, and that she wants revenge on them, as Gaia giggled. Way ahead of you, since we destroyed Suna while taking their scrolls and valuables while sparing Temari, Kankuro and Pakura, Gaia said. How about Raza? She asked. Already dead, as Orochimaru is disguised as him, he said. So about this harem, because I thought he was cheating you with each other, Karura said. It's not truly cheating if we are aware of it. What Naruto does with others' girls is entirely his business. So long as he doesn't manipulate them or cast them aside for malicious purposes, which we know he would never do, we see no reason to say or do anything about it, Matsuri said with a mature voice different from when she normally talks. Besides Karura, you only had sex with Raza 3 times so that he could have his perfect weapon, as he grew more colder after Kankuro was born, as you were forced to retirement after you became engaged to Raza. Naruto treats us tailed beasts as civilized beings with feelings and ambitions, Katsumi said as she saw Shikaku, Matatabi, Isabu, Son Goku and Chome nodding. You wanted me to revive your clan, Kimiko? Naruto asked her. I wanted, but then I thought that if you revive them it would be in vain, and I want to start fresh with you, Naruto, since my clan only loved to cause violence and only let me out just to kill people. That you cured me and got rid of that cursed mark like you did with Tayuya, as I was the black sheep of the clan, since I only fought to protect, not for pleasure. When that snake praised us with empty promises due to our potential, while you saw us for who we are and helped us be better, even if it is to destroy the Shinobi system that has caused pain and suffering to the innocents, and for what, an endless cycle of violence until nothing is left. Like I said, that we will always be there for you no matter what, Naruto-kun. She said as Naruto cups her chin, kissed her as their tongues were fighting for dominance, and as always Naruto's won, as he always knows who to cheer them and even manage with his wood clones and his chakra chains. You girls are the ones who actually make me special. Even when we killed a whole village in less than a day, you all still follow me. That is true loyalty, Naruto said to them as they blushed. Naruto is someone who would put his harem, no family, first above everything else, even the universe, someone who would let them know that they will always be loved. Okay then, so that plan is you guys stay here to train your new powers as Satsuki, Katsumi, and I return to Konoha as I make durable clones of Gaia, Matsuri, Yodo, Karura, Kimiko, Tayuya and Kin, with an explosive one to avoid suspicion, Naruto said as they nodded. Seriously, especially the tailed beasts need more variety instead of using tailed beasts bombs. All of them need to be powerful, diverse, and jack-of-all-trades women. Something that Naruto loves is powerful women. Especially the women who were trapped on Root HQ, since they want their own revenge against their clans too, because they thought they were out of the norm of their traditions. Don't worry, Rin, I will save our daughter too and her friends, he told her. Will I meet my sister? Sarada said. Of course you will, and I know that she will love you, Sarada, he told his daughter as he made his wood clones and made them transformed into them as he gave them the commands as they Hiration to Konoha. How about those two? Izumi asked, pointing at Sai and Astolfo as Naruto used his sword to slice Sai's shirt as her boobs somehow pops out and were high E-cups as he nosebleed. Wait a minute, I was fighting 2 girls? Naruto said, even with the long hair and neutral expression he thought she was a male. So what are you going to do about it? Kill us or rape us? Ha, you little dick. Sigh as the room got colder as Naruto grinned manically. Izumi, can you take Sarada to her room now? He told her as Izumi took Sarada out. Oh, I will show you a small penis, he said, laughing as he pulled his pants down as Sai and Astolfo saw his third leg, as Astolfo was too eager and Sai sweated in fear for the first time in years. 2 hours later, we see Sai and Astolfo with pure bliss as both whole were filled with Naruto's cum, as he can make his cum sterile at will so he doesn't have unplanned babies, not that he is against it. How was it you two? He asked the former Root Neens. I was the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me, Sai said with a real smile as Astolfo was groping her foo's breasts and nibbling her ears. As Naruto bit on their necks as the black sun marks appears on them and disappears. Now that you two are part of Black Sun, I have a mission for you, and is to act as Danzo's bodyguards. Before you ask, this Danzo's is an animatronic made by Gaia, Ada and Delta that has his memories and mannerisms like that other Root Neen we killed to avoid suspicions, and if someone asks, just act natural. This is your grandpa we are referring to since he wanted you to kill Astolfo just to get rid of your emotions. Naruto said bluntly, as Astolfo felt betrayed that her own grandpa would nearly ordered her own sister to kill her just to be a perfect shinobi, and they nodded and left for their mission. Yujito, you're not going to Kumo, right? He asked her to make sure. Negative, as I have learned that I plan me to become a cum dumpster for the daimyos, their children, kages, council members and top ninjas for weeks after the exams. I hated being there as they only made me a jounin as a false sense of security as I busted my ass to help the village as I hear their whispers as they are waiting for me to fail, so that they can seal Matatabi on my sister Samui, so that she can be their perfect Jinchuriki pet. Yujito said, crying while shocking her sister and nephew as Matatabi, Samui, Kushina and Naruto hugged her. My grandfather would never do that even to a female Jinchuriki, would he? Kuro asked. Your grandfather was trained by one of the most conniving, merciless and devious IWA nin to have ever existed. Non-person Mu and your grandpa's name was on the list to have a Kushina clone for his needs. Katsumi said, as Kuro's face turns green as Naruto healed her. That's not everything, as Kumo is holding several women from different villages like Shizen Kato, and one in particular is the wife of the current Hyuga clan head. Yujito said, which shocked Naruto, Kushina and Mikoto. I thought that Hitomi died from childbirth when she had Hanabi. Mikoto said. I thought that Shizune was placed Kia on the active list. Kushina said. Looks like I need to read Danzo's little black book more then. Naruto said. Hokage Tower. As complaints were present, which all of them were towards Jiraiya. Jiraiya explained why I was given complaints about you having sex with wives of some of the clan heads. The Fire Daimyo's long-lost daughter. The Earth Daimyo's daughter who is blind, and even Inoki's granddaughter. You know I hate sloppy seconds, or do you have a twin that you didn't mention me, Dad? Minato said to Jiraiya, who flinched. Off the record, how was Kuratsuchi? He asked Jiraiya. I'm telling you, Minato. That is not me, and since why would I even dare to have sex with flat-chested girls and a blind one? That's not my style. Jiraiya said arrogantly. Yeah, and you tried to fuck Kushina down at Root HQ. I did tell you that she put a seal on herself that even I can't break because every time I tried it wasn't pretty. Minato said, trying to forget that incident. Until Inoki barged in with Kuratsuchi, Naruto's would clone, behind him. So it was you who had sex with my granddaughter. Get back and die. On my back. Inoki shouted as Kuro came in crying. It was awful, Grandpa. He violated and took pictures of my privates and said that he would look at them later to masturbate to them for his novels. Kuro said, crying in despair. He did what? Come back here and die like a man, you toad-sucking bastard. Inoki shouted as he flew to chase Jiraiya. Meanwhile, at a bar. Mabuki Haruno, widow mother of Sakura Haruno as her husband died during the Nine Tails attack as he protected them. Kiku Yamanaka, also known as Konoha's gossip empress and Ino's mom, and Yoshino Nara, wife of clan head Shikaka Nara and cousin to exiled Nico Robin Nara. The three women were betting each other that the next guy that enters the door are going to bang him into the nearest hotel. As Jiraiya, Naruto, walks in as they looked at each other and shrugged as they took Jiraiya into the hotel next door. Meanwhile, with the real Jiraiya, he felt a disturbance in the hotel as he opens to find his inspiration, as the door closes behind him as the light and music came on his eyes diluted. No, not this place again. No. Jiraiya screamed for escape as he was trapped again at the Blue Oyster as men saw him as they licked their lips as the fun, for them, begins. Ha 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 ha. A clone of Naruto laughed as he poofed out as Naruto negated their memory feedback since he was busy plowing 3 MLFS. The next day, after the pounding that he gave them last night as they both woke up with spare clothing on the nightstand as they someone cooking, and that's when they saw Naruto and Satsuki making out in the table while Katsumi was making breakfast for Mabuki, Kiku and Yoshino. Naruto and Satsuki, you're alive. Mabuki shouted until a hand came from her belly and slapped her to stop shouting as Yoshino saw the arm. Wait a minute, I know that hand from anywhere. Is my cousin's bloodline of making any limb from her body on everything and anything since I never seen her ever since my clan exiled her for being troublesome, as she was my inspiration to become more active. Yoshino said. I thought that you were dead? Who is that cooking? Kiku asked. Katsumi Otsutsuki, also known as the Nine Tails, she said as she dodged Mabuki's fist and held it. You bitch! You killed my husband, Mabuki said as Kiku and Yoshino held her back. Would you just calm down first? Katsumi said calmly as she used one of her tails to turn off the stove. So you're telling me that Obito released you against your will from the real Kushina to destroy Konoha like it was Madara's revenge? Kiku asked as she nodded. You want to destroy the Shinobi system to stop wars? Mabuki asked to Naruto. This whole time that the Kushina we know now was a clone? No wonder that she had neglected Naruto, since Uzumaki are known to put family above everything. Yoshino asked as Satsuki nodded. So what do you say girls are you in, since when we restore Kaguya I will spare you as only I, my harem and those that me, Satsuki, Katsumi and Kaguya deem worthy will live with their chakra intact? He asked them while Mabuki was mad that Katsumi killed her husband by accident and that the one responsible is out there free, and that she is worried of Sakura, who is still a fangirl to Arashir and Menma, and it troubles her that if they use the Nine-Tails chakra they could probably kill her. Yoshino wants to reunite with her cousin that actually inspired her to be more active than the current clan, as was trying to make Shikamaru more active, but he took more of his father than her, and Kiku also had two cousins that she babysit before, but the elders deemed them dangerous due to how powerful they were and were afraid that they would corrupt the new generation as they sold them to Danzo, and was worried that Ino would turn into a root nin like Fu did, especially when she saw the creation of chakra on Earth by seeing the One-Tail's memories. They looked each other. We're in. The three said in unison as Naruto bit them on their necks, as the last thing they saw was Naruto making out with Katsumi, who was wearing a naked apron. Chunin Exams Part 3. In the stadium, people and Shinobi were present to see who would be promoted to Chunin rank this time around. Niji versus Hinata. Same as canon. Yodo clone versus Zaku. As Zaku saw Yodo, he called her a flat-chested bitch, as the next thing he knew was that someone kicked him in the balls so hard that they retracted as he talked in a squeaky voice as she stomped him at his face as the males cover their privates while Inoki's back hurted. Flat-chested. I'm wearing tape, you pansy. She lifted him and used sound style. Banshee screamed to stun Zaku as she threw him to the wall as he was knocked out. Winner cough Yodo of cough Suna, Hayate said as she went back to the others. Wow, Raza, I didn't know that she could do that, even without hand seals at all. Minato said to Raza. Yes, even I didn't knew that, Orochimaru said. Matsuri clone versus Kiba. That is going to be an easy match, Kiba said arrogantly as Akamaru sensed Matsuri's scent as he ran towards Hanabi scared, and Sum saw him as she pinched her nose in disappointment. He made his death wish, Sum said. I'll let you do the first hit as I didn't saw you fighting at the forest as you were watching, Kiba told her. Oh, you want to play like that, eh? She said. All of a sudden, she did a quick underhand throw as something came from her sleeve as his hits Kiba's left shoulder through his back. Boo! Konoha Nin shouted towards Matsuri as she glared at them using her Manjikyu Sharingan that looked like a flaming orb twirling around as Matsuri yanks the weapon back over Kiba's shoulder as she twirls the chain tighter with all her might surrounding Kiba's body. Get over here! Matsuri yelled using her mature voice as she dragged Kiba a few feet from her. She laughs herself by kicking him a few times using dragon kicks at his chest. While Kiba screamed as her kicks made his blood come out that Akamaru hides inside Hanabi's clothing as some children were crying, while Orochimaru was having an orgasm at seeing a Manjikyu Sharingan in action as he wets his robes from coming. While the higher-ups, Minato and Jiraiya question themselves is how that hell can Asuna Genin gain the Manjikyu Sharingan and not wear out easily like Kakashi does, or did Suna head Uchiha without them knowing? Did you know about this, Raza? Minato asked Raza, who was still spaced out as Jiraiya snapped his fingers. Huh? What? He said. Do you know that the girl was an Uchiha? Minato asked him. No, I never seen her with a Sharingan before at all. Now will you excuse so that I can go to the bathroom alone? He answered back as the others as he left to finish his business. Every kick she does cause more blood to disperse in the arena as before she can finish Kurenai jumps in as she cuts the chains off as Kiba hits the floor face first. Kurenai flips Kiba as she that his eyes were white form shock as she starts to yell at Matsuri, who glared at her with her Sharingan to shut up. Winner cough Matsuri of cough Suna, Hayate shouted. If this was war, why should I showed him mercy when the enemy won't do it to me either? Matsuri said. This is not war times, Kurenai said as she felt paralyzed by Matsuri's killer intent. The one who doesn't understand is you, as I'm also a female ninja, as my odds of death are low, but in war times the rape rate is high, Matsuri said, as she knew she won as they called medic Nin to take Kiba away as Hayate looked at Kurenai. You know that she is right, Kurenai, that you can't babysit you team, as one day war will happen again. he said as Kurenai tried to hide her guilt as she saw in the stands Yakumo, clone, staring right at her as she blinked as Yakumo, clone, wasn't there anymore. Kin, clone versus Shikamaru. Same as canon. Kimiko, clone versus Tenten. Kimiko was yawning as Tenten threw her weapons at her as she dodges with grace all of Tenten's weapons as she closes in on her to punch her in the stomach as she skidded like a peeble on water into wall. So fast, Tenten mumbled as she lost consciousness. Winner cough Kimiko, Hate said. She wasn't even a worthy fighter, only a one-trick pony. Let the be a lesson for you, she said as she left as Tenten's body was taken to the hospital. Tayuya, clone versus Shino. Tayuya used her flute to put Shino's bugs into a genjutsu to drain his own chakra. Huh? So this is how it feels when my insects drain chakra. Who knew? Shino said as he fainted. Winner Tayuya. Cough Heiate shouted. Shin versus Yoroi. Shin won because he copied Lee's moves. Gaia clone versus Lee. Gaia clone looks at Lee. Give up now, she said. A Lee and Guy shouted youth. Thank Kami that I'm a clone, she uttered to herself. So that's you answer then. Well, I did warn you, she said. Ha! Lee said as quick as lightning as sand wraps around Lee's legs. Have you ever heard the saying hell hath no fury like a woman scorned? She said as everyone hears a large crack as her sand throws Lee into a wall, making a large hole with his blood flowing down as they can see the well fragments enter his body as pieces of flesh and blood were visible multiple times as she got bored and yawned as Gaia made the sand disappear. Gaia has won, cough Heiate said. As Might Guy landed next to her. You didn't had to hurt him that bad, Guy told her as Lee screamed youth. See, he is completely fine, she said as she Hirashin out of the arena, which made Minato spit take that someone learned his signature technique. Hokage-sama, how dare you teach a Sunagenin your own prize jutsu? I said. Yeah, how could Lady One learn your jutsu without a kunai, you fool? Killer Bee said while inside him. Gyuki tried covering his ears if he had won as Minato was trying at defending himself. Did you know of this Danzo? Minato asked the leader of Root. My informants never told me that the one-tailed Jinchuriki knows the flying thunder god without a sealing formula or the kunai, Danzo said as his two bodyguards made no sound, but behind their masks they were glad that no one suspects them. Meanwhile, with the Gaia clone. As she reappeared, she saw Flare, who was her turn. As she saw Gaia's clone, she smiled. Tell Naruto and Satsuki that I want to join them, and I know you're just a wood clone. If the real Gaia is hearing, I will forgive her personally, she whispered to her as the clone left her. While Naruto heard the conversation and smiled because Flare actually misses them and is repentant to fighting Gaia before. Good thing that we got what we needed, Satsuki and Yakumo, he said to them. Flashback during the tournament. While everyone was distracted by the exams as Naruto, Satsuki, Katsumi and Yakumo sneaked into the Hokage Tower to steal the Forbidden Scroll and their valuables and replace them with fakes, even the ANBU saw them a life like Genjutsu of Yakumo and even took the scrolls and valuables of the Senju, Uzumaki and Uchiha compounds to their rightful owners, Naruto and Satsuki. They will never know the difference, Satsuki? Naruto asked, grinning on her lovers. This is so much fun to have a stronger body, Yakumo said, liking her Otsutsuki body as she was hovering in the air. Meanwhile, Flare versus Ino versus Sakura. This one was a 1 versus 2 round suggested by Flare Haruno against her cousin Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamanaka. Flare just stood there with a creepy grin as Ino used her mind jutsu to control Flare as she sees inside Flare's head of her being gangbanged by multiple Narutos. Outside, Ino's body comes by instinct with an I got fucked stupid face with her tongue sticking out. Sakura, not noticing Ino's, come trailing near her. If my mother was still alive, Naruto would probably fucked her silly, Flare said with no shame. You are sick in the mind, Sakura shouted like the banshee she is. Whatever you say, Ms. Virgin, Flare said, flipping Sakura off and doing the V sign with her tongue to taunt Sakura. Sakura tried to punch her cousin as she slips from Ino's cum and hit her with her huge forehead while Jiraiya wrote the event for his research. As Flare just stood there not moving at all with a Yandere smile on her face as she won her round without even moving. Winner Flare cough Haruno, Heiate shouted as Flare left. Pathetic, She said to Ino and Sakura despite their mothers being present, Flare was right that they need to stop being fangirls. Dosu versus Choji. Same as canon. Menma versus Misugi. Menma 1. Arashi versus Misumi. Arashi 1. Nighttime. Temari was alone wandering Konoha as she was thinking how could Gaia act normal with having Shikaku inside of her. She doesn't know that Gaia is not a Jinchuriki anymore yet. As she saw Gaia, clone. Leaving the hotel she was staying with her team as she was limping to the hot springs as Temari was interesting as to why Gaia was limping, and it's her duty of being the older sister to protect her younger one despite fearing Shikaku. As she stalked Gaia, Temari heard her saying, "Wow, he torn me up and I thought that all that seed would stop draining from my." Gaia said as Temari got pissed that someone took her sister's virginity. "Okay, when I find that scumbag who plowed my sister I will kill him," Temari said as he henge as her sister as she went into the hotel that Gaia's team is staying during the exams. Meanwhile, Hokage Tower. "I'm telling you, Minato, I didn't do it. Why is everyone picking on me?" Jiraiya said, trying to defend himself. "I'm getting tired of all these complaints from everybody. For Kami's sake, Jiraiya, you didn't had sex with my Kushina or my former daughter, right?" Minato said. "No. Who do you think I am, Orochimaru?" Jiraiya said as somewhere Orochimaru felt to kick Jiraiya's balls when he sees him. Again with Temari. A disguised Temari went to her sister's room until Naruto sneaked behind her without making a sound as it was empty as Matsuri and Yodo weren't present at all. "Up for more, my sand princess?" Naruto asked Temari as he threw her to the bed as Temari's disguise fell off. "If you violate me, I will scream," Temari said as Naruto scoffed. "Oh, I'll bet I can make you scream all night," Naruto said grinning as he turned off the lights as screams of moaning and pounding filled the room. Elsewhere. As Gaia, the real one, killed Dosu to avoid suspicion as he was worthless, as she made sure to not even leave blood if someone tries to revive him. She sees her sensei Baki talking to Kabuto about the invasion as she used Mayfly to not be detected as Heiate overheard them as he was killed by Baki, as she and Shikaku, real one, made their presence known to Baki. "Hi Baki," she said to him as she killed him with her sand slowly as the last thing he saw was Gaia with her eternal Manjikyu Sharingan that resembles an hourglass while Shikaku's resembles an X mark as they smiled grimly at him as he was suffocated and squished by the sand. "Bye Baki," they said in unison as they mayfly to Uzushio-gakure. Next morning. As Temari woke up from the night of her life as the sex god known as Naruto Otsutsuki took her virginity who was bound in a crouching sexual pose, Jacko crouching, with ninja rope tied around her body on her sensitive areas. As Team Gaia, real ones, and Karura real, entered as they saw Temari's position as they look at her. "Damn sis, I didn't knew you were a masochist," Gaia said teasingly to Temari as Karura took pictures for blackmail, and they saw her bite mark of black sun that Naruto left and Naruto's master servant seal that looks like a tattooed collar with a heart in the neck that Sai and Astolfo have already after Naruto bit them to be devoted to him just in case. Meanwhile in Uzushio-gakure. As the other members of Black Sun and Tailed Beasts, except Gaia and her team who are having their time with Karura, as they are training with their newly discovered Eternal Manjikyu Sharingans and with style on rebuilding the rest of Uzushio-gakure as they are practicing in creating plants, trees, and wood houses by using wood style. 4-pillar house jutsu at first for them to use wood style. Serial pillar houses jutsu. Even if the tailed beasts still hate humanity, that are still a few that can be salvaged. Even Kuro was giddy when she learned the perfect counter for the yellow flashes Hiraishin. The Jugen, which helps to know where her opponents will teleport by allowing her to sense where their emotions are concentrated the most. She even was taught the Hiraishin by Kushina, as she was the true creator of the jutsu like the Rasengan also, without using formula nor kunai, and even the Rasengan as she added her lava and dust style into it. Even Shikaku was practicing on using iron sand like the third Kazekage Iro Sabaku and the gold sand like Raza did as a way to step up his game, and when he meditated to absorb nature energy while moving as they don't actually need to eat and rest since the energy around them supplement them as they were the 10 tails before since they learned to use with style and have the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan that in a few years they will evolve into the Tomode Rinnegan, a more powerful version as it is. The second to last evolution of the Rinne Sharingan. As he had watched Katsumi from being the cynical and least cooperative of the 10 of us just because of her amount of tails to someone who asked for help when she needs it, lovable to her family, fiercely loyal to her family than some particular twins that shall not be named now and that she can and will kill anyone who messes with them. As long as they remembered is that Katsumi, despite not having a bloodline like the rest of her siblings, she indeed has one aside from sensing emotions as the one with the potency of the 10 tails chakra that only an Otsutsuki or an Uzumaki, even half with said genetic, can truly contain her, as anyone with the proper sealing can contain Katsumi, but it would deteriorate and the person dies in a few years, as the first 5 can be contained in objects but 6 to 9 can only be sealed on the amber purifying pot or in a person. Not even death itself can seal an Otsutsuki nor a tailed beast, as it would be pointless. Maybe the original Otsutsuki clan are not actually bad, just lazy like the typical Nara. I mean, if they wanted power, why not absorb nature energy instead of killing life from planets, since nature energy is infinite as long as nature is present? Shikaku said as he was concentrating to create a Rasengan with his magnet style as he launched it at Isabu, who was relaxing on the beach where the whirlpools receded as he was playing with Sarada making a sand castle. "Watch out, Isabu!" Shikaku yelled as Isabu saw the Rasengan as it phased through Isabu, who had his EMS activated, as the tailed beasts have Kamui even with their own Kamui dimensions. "Thank Kami for Kamui, despite that there are better techniques than it, but no one else has to know but us," Isabu said to Sarada, who clapped happily as she tried to water walked towards Isabu. "Whoa there, Sarada. You can't water walk without your mother supervising you," as said as he turned smaller as he neared the shore towards Sarada as he activates the whirlpools with a snap of his fingers, while Haku and Rin were teaching the rest of the group the healing arts and anatomy, as where the vital points are located and where to target the proper medications for each poison, as Irene also taught her to use healing magic if an enemy uses truth-seeking orbs, especially when Kaguya told them about Obito after seeing her die once and his future. All for seeing a fake version of me that would never judge him and even lie to her face. "Even if I actually died, I would never forgive him for all he did now," Rin said in sadness as Sarada looked at her mom. Madara gave him the choice to leave even if he manipulated Obito for his plan, as Obito chose by himself to continue the dark path, so don't blame yourself, Rin. Isabu told her as she smiled a little, because she has a daughter with a person that can change the world for the better towards a fresh start. "If it is to blame someone is Kakashi," Larkseen said as everyone, even Sarada, nodded. Hokage Tower. As Minato, Jiraiya, Hiruzen, Koharu, Hamura, Danzo with his 2 bodyguards, Sai and Astolfo, going to discuss a meeting with Raza on what they saw during Gaia's round in the preliminaries. How someone from Suna can knows the 4 teachers' most famous jutsu without using a sealing formula and kanai, and what it's surprising is that she had the Sharingan, Koharu asked. Raza enters the office as they saw the aforementioned person present and demanded him an explanation of how the Suna Jinchuriki has the Sharingan. "If I knew, I would tell about it. It may be possible that it was from an unknown Uchiha," Orochimaru said. "How is it possible, as Kakashi has one Sharingan eye that drains his chakra when exposed, and we saw her turning it on, off at will, as neither you nor your other children have it?" Hiruzen asked Raza. "I didn't even taught to Naruto before he died," Minato said as an ANBU notified that Team Gaia and a surprise guest were coming. As a certain woman entered the office, but what shocked them that it was Karura, who was alive and well. "Karura Sabaku, how are you even alive, as we thought that you have died when you gave birth to Gaia?" Jiraiya asked her. "Oh honey, I didn't knew you were here too?" Karura faked the pleasantries as she leaned in to kiss her husband when she smelled his breath as she turned away from him as she pinched her nose. "Damn honey, your breath smells like bad medicine and little boy pee, or was it something you ate before?" Karura said to Raza, as the rest of the people present, even the hidden ANBU and Danzo, snickered when she said that, as Minato interrupted. "Lady Karura, I have a question. Didn't you died not long ago?" he asked her. "What are you talking about? I was at the capital enjoying my shopping vacation. Did you know that I really don't like staying in Suna so much, since I hate when the sands gets into my you-know-what?" Karura said as in the corner Jiraiya was writing down the words on his notepad. "Beep beep, sir, the Kazakich's children and the Suna team is here," the secretary, Victor's secretary from Boruto, said as the door opens as Team Gaia, Kankuro and Tamari can in, as Gaia and Tamari greet their mother as they told her that the old man pervert had sex with them and made them call him Sensei Bad Touch and practically raped them, while Kankuro neared Jiraiya and gave him his copy of Boy Love Boy for Jiraiya to sign it, as he asked Kankuro as to who wrote this book, since he doesn't remember writing it, or was it when he was at the Blue Oyster, which made Jiraiya shuddered. Flashback to Kankuro's appearance. Since Shikaku is staying in Yuzu due to being safer than the other villages to train his new powers, as Gaia spending time with her mother that she lost before for the first time since knowing her first friends and Shikaku, she was happy to have her mother back, and even telling her that she and her friends have the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan since they are pure-blooded Otsutsuki like Naruto and Satsuki now, and she was also sad that her ex-husband ordered her own brother to kill her daughter to be his weapon. Thank Kami that Matsuri and Yodo became her friends since even her own children were afraid of Gaia, and learned that Yodo is also their relative from Raza's great-grandpa Reto, who was a mercenary at first, as his father was Shikaku's first Jinchuriki. Thought she was grateful that he didn't rampage, but she was slowly trusting him. The mother and daughter saw Kankuro in front of a huge line to sign a book titled Boy Love Boy by Jiraiya, which was ghost-written by Kankuro Sabaku. "Mom, you're alive?" Kankuro asked his living, breathing mom. "Yes, and what are you doing here?" she answered back as she saw the book. "It's a yaoi novel. I always knew when you looked at Baki, especially when using my makeup as war paint," Karura said, teasing her son who was blushing. "Can you keep it down? We are trying to have our book sign," said a tall and pale-skinned man, who had deep wrinkles and a strong jawline in his elderly age. Has spiky, shoulder-length, pale brown hair, with a chin-length, braided lock hanging in front of his left ear. Sports a goatee tapered down to his waist. Has a pair of horn-like protrusions extending from either side of his forehead and purple basic Rinnegan eyes. He also has a red basic Rinnegan-like marking in the center of his forehead referred to as his third eye. Wearing a white, full-length kimono with a pattern of 6 black magatama around a high collar, beneath which he wore a necklace, which was also made up of 6 black magatama. On the back of his kimono was a larger, black Rinnegan marking with a pattern of 9 magatama arranged in 3 rows of 3 beneath it, who appeared like he was a wisp as he waiting in line next to another old man who was very frail with horn-like protrusions on his forehead. His ribcage slightly visible, his brows more prominent, and he has deep wrinkles in his face and gray hair. Wearing a white kimono with a black wide collar ceremonial kimono, with a light green sash tied over his right shoulder. His eyes are the Tensigen. As Gaia recognized the men she muster a lot a killer intent of him as she stared at the one with Rinnegan eyes with her EMS. "Even the death love your yaoi book, Kankuro," Gaia said with a sneer, still staring at the old man while Kankuro tilted his head. "Gaia, who are you talking to?" Karura asked her. "Don't you recognize the mom?" Gaia asked her as she sighed. "Those two are Hagoromo and Himura Otsutsuki, as most people would know the former as the Sage of 6 Paths," she said while Kankuro was amazed that the first shinobi loves his novel that he wrote in secret. He wasn't a shinobi, Kankuro, he was a priest who had the stupid idea of sharing chakra with people and telling them not to use them against each other. Gaia said. "Child, how do you know of who we are?" Hagoromo asked as her eyes darkened as her EMS glowed more brightly. "From the mother you betrayed, you freaking cuckolders," Gaia stated without any emotion, just with a psychotic smile as she formed a single truth-seeking ball as it shocked Hagoromo and Himura as it turned into black sand towards the ancient duo. "Easy, child, we mean no harm now," Hagoromo said as a bit to the truth-seeking sand touched Himura as stung him. "You two are lucky that Shikaku isn't here, and no destroying your chakra spirits now won't be enough, so we will let you two live as you see the world you created destroyed, and when we free Kaguya you will see Naruto-kun plow her like a cheap whore all over in front of your faces, and you can't do anything at all about it." Gaia laughed madly as Matsuri, Yodo and Temari were having perverted thoughts of the scene of Naruto and Kaguya having sex as Hagoromo and Himura made horrible faces. Appu's face when he saw his octuplets, while hearing that. "Those are the faces I was looking for," Gaia said in a Yandra voice as she used her EMS to remember their faces while Kankuro stepped back a little as Kakashi appeared with a signed book as he recognized Kankuro as the ghostwriter of the novel. "That's not me." Kankuro tried to lie about it as Kakashi was showing a picture of Kankuro without his makeup. "If it isn't, why your picture is shown on the second page," Kakashi said, pointing the photo of Kankuro for emphasis. "What? Oh no!" Kankuro shouted as he tried to escape his fans while Team Gaia laughed. Naruto Hot Springs. As Naruto was relaxing at the male side using his transformation of Jiraiya, as he was relaxing alone as a cute young girl with long black hair down to her hips and gray eyes. Her ears differ from a normal human's as they have pointed tips, although her long black hair makes this feature difficult to notice. Her dark gray eyes have reptilian slitted pupils. Her body measurements are B66, W53, H70. Height is 137 centimeters and body weight is 31 kilograms. who was even wearing any bathing suit at all, as Naruto saw her. I think you are on the wrong side, Ms. Naruto said as the girl talked. Ophis, no I'm not. So you're Hellas champion I presumed. Ophis asked him as Naruto has a WTF face. Who's champion? He asked her as she realized something. Oops, I talked too much. I see you soon, Naruto Uzumaki. I mean Otsutsuki. Ophis said as she vanished, though the steam not before she winked at him. Wait a minute. How the hell she saw through my disguise, and who the fuck was that girl? Naruto asked himself as his transformation are realistic to the core and even the personality and chakra, so how can a girl saw through it easily? He received a chakra seal near his right ear that only members of Black Sun can track while others can't track or take it, not even censors. The message was from Irene saying to return to Yuzu as Satsuki and Katsumi were shopping using money from their creation of all things. Aunt Irene calling us back to Yuzu? Satsuki asked, since it felt right to call her that despite being a harem sister. Even Katsumi has begun to accept Satsuki like a family despite having being an Uchiha. Why couldn't Naruto be born when we first existed? Katsumi thought to herself in sadness as Irene explained them that Hagoromo didn't want them to be protected, saying that humans won't harm them, and all this time he was watching us and did nothing, just like overestimating humanity. No wonder Otsutsuki can't mingle with humans, but Kaguya was a bit naive back then that despite considering themselves as superior, which is justified, but they can develop empathy towards non-clan members. Naruto appeared using a black and red Yamatsu Hirasaka as Naruto appeared from the portal with his Rinna Sharingan eyes showing just like Satsuki have, since they have Kaguya's DNA, and it feels right to have those eyes since he didn't killed or saw anyone close to him die to awake them just naturally on their own. Ladies, Naruto said to them as they kissed him as he sealed the stuff they bought in a sealing scroll as Satsuki used her own Rinna Sharingan eyes to use Yamatsu Hirasaka, which was pure black towards Yuzu. Meanwhile, Hokage Tower. As Sandayu-sama, who is the personal assistant of Yuki Fujikaze, to get a mission from Konoha to escort Yuki to the Land of Snow and protect her while filming the latest Princess Gale movie there, but Konoha denied the mission despite being a C rank, but in actuality is that Konoha and Snow have bad blood with each other. As Sandayu was disappointed that they turned down his mission as he looked somewhere in the market, or that he heard about an independent guild called White Lotus, since the villages are keeping an eye for Black Sun, and that the leader was drinking at a near bar. Local bar. He found the leader drinking in the bar as he came up to the leader asking for help as he saw Irene disguised with blonde hair with bits of red streaks as Sandayu was dumbfounded by her beauty as men and women tried to seduce her, but she always shocked them with her magic as only her Naruto-kun and her harem sisters can see her body sculpted by Kami herself in all her naked glory. As Sandayu was nearing her to ask for help. Sorry to interrupt your drinking time, me lady, as I was told to look for this guild that helps people. Sandayu told her as she finished her drinking as they went into a private room since she owns the bar. I need you to close your eyes for a minute now, she said as Sandayu did what she asked to as she used her magic teleport them to Yuzu. Yuzushigakure White Lotus / Black Sun HQ. As Irene and Sandayu appeared inside an high-tech room, which is the conference room of White Lotus, which is bigger than the Hokage office. As Sandayu saw Shikaku and Chome chatting. Yes, Chome asked, which scared Sandayu. I want your guild to escort Yuki to Snow because Konoha doesn't want to help due to classification, Sandayu said. If you don't tell us the truth, then look somewhere else then, Irene said. Please, I would pay more as Yuki needs to finish her film, Sandayu begged. Is there anything else that you are hiding? Matsuri asked with a sinister grin as she created a truth-seeking ball. Okay, the true reason to her reclaim the throne as the Snow Daimyo, Sandayu confessed. Oh, we already knew about it, bodyguard of Koyuki Kazahana, Irene said, shocking him. Don't worry, this place is secure, Irene said as Sandayu explained everything. While Irene has a file about Koyuki Kazahana as she said Princess Gale when suddenly Gaia and Fuhiration instantly to Irene at the mention of Koyuki's stage name. Where is she? Gaia said with a body pillow of Koyuki in her Princess Gale dress. What's with the commotion as I was plowing my lovers? Satsuki asked offscreen as the other males blushed as Irene coughed. As I was saying that we have a mission to escort Yuki Fujikaze and protect during the filming of her movie, Irene said as Delta and Ada read the file more. Wait a minute. She is the former Snow Daimyo's daughter? Delta shouted, which surprised everyone that they knew about her. As Naruto, Satsuki and Katsumi present themselves in new disguises. Naruto's disguise consists of having paler skin, short hair, gray eye on his right and red eye with black scara on the left to avoid suspicion, black trousers and a gray waistcoat over a white dress shirt and a brown necktie. Wears a mask that resembles to a leather gimp mask with an eye patch. It bears a lipless mouth that shows large, gnashing teeth, much like a restrained asylum monster. His hair became white and his nails are black. His white hair is now adorned by black streaks, which have grown out from the center of his head, and his nails are no longer black. In this form, he goes by the name Azura. Satsuki has now the appearance of a young woman with a pale complexion. She appears to have a mole on the right part of her chin. She has short, silvery white hair and is revealed to have grayish-blue eyes but is covered with her blindfold. She wears a black dress with a skirt. It appears that she is wearing a white leotard underneath her dress. There are 2 white finger gloves with black on the section of the fingers. She also wears long black high heels with see-through stockings. In this form, she is called Indira. Katsumi is disguised as a fair-skinned young woman with short wavy black hair and amber eyes. Her design of clothing features a long white tailcoat with dark violet inner lining and a sleeveless black crop top, as well as a belt attached from behind. The crop top has rectangular and diamond-shaped cutouts around the neckline, which have purple outlines. Additionally, she wears a white belt over black fitted pants. While in this form, she is called Blake. "You look good with short black hair, Katsumi," Naruto said to her, who blushed a storm. "Baka," she said to him while her brothers and sister giggled. "Will you do the mission?" Sandeu asked them. "Of course we will, since it's the right thing to do," Naruto said with conviction. Meanwhile, Konoha Hospital. As Hanabi was visiting her sister Hinata along with Narumi and the Maru Corps. As Hanabi stayed on her sister's side and repent on having calling her weak when Hinata was sabotaging her potential to protect her, and she shunned her on calling her weak when she is one of the purest and kindest person she knows and always being there when their mother died. While Niji was looking at disdain and calling Hinata weak as Hanabi got fed up at his attitude as she threw him a scroll. "What's this?" Niji asked while Narumi glared at him while showing her chakra chains as he opened the scroll and became sad and shocked that his father sacrificed himself on his free will to ensure that Kumo doesn't gain the Byakugan. "What have I done?" Niji said to himself as all this time spouting fate, and now they lied to us that it was fate that his father died as Hinata sensed Hanabi. "Hanabi, is that you?" Hinata asked. "Yes, Hinata, this is your Hanabi-chan," Hanabi said in sadness. "Are you happy now?" Narumi told to Niji, who finished reading the scroll while unknowingly showed him the Manjikyu Sharingan that looks exactly like Indra Otsutsuki that she doesn't know yet, while Niji said nothing in fear when her chains neared him as Niji went to Hinata and apologized to her about blaming her father's death at her when she was 3 years old against a jounin. "No need to worry about it, Niji, the past is in the past," Hinata said, uncovering her eyes as they show the Tensigan as she changes it into the Byakugan as Niji gulped. Meanwhile, near the land of waves. As Irene, Naruto, Satsuki, Katsumi, Gaia, Matsuri, Yodo, Fo, Shikaku and Chome partake the mission to protect Koyuki while making the film as she was acting happiness when Gaia and Fu asked for an autograph, but they already knew since they learned to sense emotions, which is a lot useful than sensing chakra. Shikaku sensed a familiar chakra and whimpered to Gaia. "Shikaku, what's wrong?" "Oh no, it's her." Gaia narrowed her eyes as she sensed Team 5 and 7 on the same ship, especially Flare. "Great, just great," Naruto said, suppressing his anger to not control Arashir and Menma to kill themselves, but he has to be patient like creating a new seal, as their own impulsiveness will be their death, while Satsuki wishing to just burn Sakura with Amaterasu if she starts to screech again. "How come someone like her come from a beautiful woman?" Naruto asked since he had sex with Mabuki and blamed it on Jiraiya as always. Kakashi saw Princess Gale as behind his mask he giggled and licked his lips, remembering the time he rescued her from her uncle and used his Sharingan to brainwash her to have fun with her. Koyuki saw Kakashi, she shivered at a repressed memory that she doesn't seem to recall about. "OMG, it's that Princess Gale," Flare said as she showed her Princess Gale plushie that she wants signed to play with it with her Naruto plushie, but she ignored Flare as she made a route to hold Yuki back to her. "Sign it," Flare said in a demonic voice with her sage markings as Koyuki signed the plushie in fear of what would happen. "See, I told you that she has it," Shikaku said to Naruto as Flare neared the disguised trio with Gaia. "Oh shit, she's coming with Gaia," Shikaku said, hiding as they see Flare with a smile, an honest one. "Don't worry about them as they are all asleep thanks to my dreamy seeds I used as they be put out all night so we have time to talk," Flare said as they dropped their disguises. "Look, Flare, we thought that you needed space when you nearly killed 3 of your classmates to death, when they saw you with blood on your face and hands with a sadistic smile on your face. Naruto said. It was because you were sad that your mother died and that we tried to befriend you again to stop the pain, but people kept us away from you because they thought that you would kill us, Satsuki said in sadness. Of course we forgive you, Flare, since you have never betrayed us, Katsumi said as the three hugged her. But I would never kill the very first friends that accepted me for who I am, Flare teasingly said, kneeling in front of them as Flare looks at Gaia. Take a picture as it lasts longer, Flare said teasingly at Gaia, who was pissed that she fought again. Flare as Naruto transported in between them to cease fighting as Flare kissed Gaia passionately while else Jiraiya was muttering research in his sleep and was crying while Karura looked at the readers with a troll face. Sorry about that, Gaia, is that you fought well back then, Flare told her as Gaia blushed as Shikaku giggled his ass off because he recorded it with his Sharingan. Quiet you, Gaia told him as they all went into their quarters to sleep along with Flare. Let me do something first, Flare, Naruto said as he goes to where Kakashi is sleeping to take his Sharingan eye and squish it as he made a normal eye in its place as a replacement as Naruto covered it with Kakashi's headband again. Doing his job, he went to sleep and cuddle with his lovers in addition to Flare, who will be in Otsutsuki now. Land of Snow. It's freezing here, Shikaku said while wearing a scarf as he was inside of a black tea kettle like the one he was sealed before but more portable and smaller. Well, what did you expect since this is the land of snow? Katsumi told him. How come you know this place, Katsumi? Naruto asked. Well, I used to roam here before I made my resting place in a place now called Land of Rice Fields where the Otogekure is now, she said. That's near the border towards the Valley of the End, Satsuki said. I remembered when I sensed Mito showing herself to seal me inside her as she was reluctant, Katsumi said as they prepared themselves from being ambushed by Yuki-nin. Sage art. Great fire annihilation, Shikaka shouted as he exhales fire mixed with nature energy since the chakra armor can negate ninjutsu and jinjutsu but not senjutsu as it overheated their armors and burned the majority with it. That takes care of that, Shikaku said as a lone girl named Fubuki Kakuyoku survived the flames. I was a spy for the rebellion and thanks for taking out this chakra armor, Fubuki said as Flare nearly touched the armor as Katsumi shouted at her. Flare, don't touch it, she yelled as she destroyed the armor with a truth-seeking orb. What the hell was that about, Katsumi? Flare shouted. That chakra is corrupted to people, Katsumi said. You don't mean? Chome asked. Yes, is fueled by dark chakra, Katsumi said, narrowing her eyes as Shikaku and Chome screamed. The chakra armors are what giving power to the Zero Tails. Take the armor out and it weakens and it caused death to my family because it drained their chakra, Fubuki said as Flare was healing her. The Zero Tails? Who's that? Fu asked. We have to come clean now, guys, Katsumi said as she explained about the Zero Tails being the true embodiment of negative emotions that it uses to feed itself to create dark chakra. I don't know what's worse, that or being marked by Orochimaru, Flare said pointing at Shin. How can it be here since the last time it appeared was at the Land of the Sky? Katsumi asked Fubuki. Doto bought the Jinchuriki of the Zero Tails from a guy named Shino, Fubuki said as the tailed beast gulped. Wait a minute, where is Naruto, Gaia and Fubuki? Satsuki asked since they haven't heard of them before the ambush. Meanwhile with Naruto, Gaia and Koyuki. As Koyuki unknowingly took Naruto and Gaia elsewhere to avoid the ambush that they nearly run over by a train as Naruto and Gaia flew with her into a cave since a snowstorm was happening. As Gaia makes firewood to create as campfire inside the cave as Naruto was trying to speak with Koyuki, until suddenly she sprayed him with her earrings but didn't work and she kicked Naruto's balls but she hurt her knee as she fell to the ground while panting as Naruto healed her. What those balls are made of, steel? Koyuki asked as Naruto healed her leg. I have a very hard 14-inch penis, he answered. Great, another pervert, Koyuki said rolling her eyes as Gaia intervened. Naruto is not a pervert, he is a sweet person who is truly loyal to his true family, that would do anything to protect them unconditionally, because I love him with all my heart, Gaia said, which amazed him and Koyuki because Gaia is someone that shows emotions to her closed ones only, but she could relate it to Koyuki since she has a relative that wanted her dead. You think that I had it worst when my Naruto-kun had more assassination attempts than every Kage in history the minute he held the nine-tailed soul at birth, while I lost my mom because they forced her labor to have me sealed the one tail on me, that it nearly made me a monster, that my own siblings were afraid of me until my first friends and Naruto-kun saved me from a hard life and gave me a choice to be something else than a shinobi to a village that despised me. You know what makes Naruto unique from Shinobi is that he stayed true to his word, and when he said to protect you is to actually do it, because he sees a girl who the world had wronged her too, even if she gave up. Naruto always see the goodness in people that actually deserved it, even with the darkness he has in his heart, that it also has a gentle and protective aura to those close to him. Gaia said as Naruto looked silently at her, because he influenced her life for the better despite embracing her darkness, as she is still her. This is it, I will die freezing in this cave, but I can't as a virgin, Koyuki said to herself. You will not die, Koyuki, Naruto said as Koyuki ripped his clothes as Naruto does it as well, while Gaia looked using her EMS to record the session while jerking off as Naruto was kissing Koyuki's neck as he bit her softly, giving her the black sun mark that she didn't notice as he licked her chest as she was moaning. Keep it up. Go lower. Give this princess some love as I demand it, Koyuki said in ecstasy as Naruto licked her lower until he ate her pussy as she asked Gaia to join in and make out with her as Naruto inserts his penis slowly as he went harder as the three of them come at the same time as they went to sleep cuddling each other. Next morning, Satsuki, Katsumi, Flare and Team Gaia finally found the cave that Naruto, Gaia and Koyuki were as they saw them snuggling. Satsuki gave 300 ryos to Katsumi. Land of Snow Palace. As the groups went to the palace, they see Dodo along with Team 5 and a sad Flare, meaning that Dodo contracted them in secret by the elders of Konoha since they need the Land of Snow's technology. Now Koyuki, give your uncle the key of your father's weapon, Dodo shouted at his niece. Never over my dead body, she said as Dodo told Kakashi to kill her as he prepared his Chidori, but couldn't as he told Shin to do it until Naruto held Koyuki as the attack phased through them. How did you do that? Kakashi said that Naruto used Kamui to evade the attack as he uncovered his left eye to use his Sharingan, but nothing happened. What's wrong, Kakashi, missing something? Naruto asked as he gave Kakashi a mirror. My Sharingan, what did you do to it? He shouted at him. He destroyed it while you were sleeping while reading porn like the pervert you are. Ha! Satsuki said as Kakashi wanted to kill her until she made gray bones from her left hand. One hit from this and you are ashes, Satsuki said, launching the bone to a plant as it turns into ashes, while Team 7 trembled as Black Sun sensed something sinister. Behold my own Jinchuriki, Dodo said as he pressed a button as a platform rises to show someone. As a girl who has long reddish-brown hair, though she kept it wrapped in her blue bandana, has rather thick eyebrows and a mole under the left eye, wearing a cyan blue GI with a cream-colored vest over it, which covers her D-cup's cleavage, blue shorts, and dark arm and leg bands. This is Amaru, the wandering doctor. I didn't know that Snow has a Jinchuriki? Asked as Katsumi growled at Amaru opened her eyes, as they were completely black with no pupils whatsoever. If it isn't my brethren Shikaku, Chome and Katsumi, it's about time we meet again, Zero Tails said mixed with Amaru's voice. Oh no, it learned anti-senjutsu, Chome said. Dang, we need to knock her out, that bitch, or kill her, Katsumi said with remorse since the girl is innocent and exposed her hatred to the leech. How can we even defeat that thing? As Team 5 and 7 launched kunais and stars at her but didn't even flinched. Before they neared her, she turned red, more muscular with more shadow arms and sharp teeth, like carnage. You want these? Here, have it back then, Zero Tails said as it launched the weapons back at them as they shunned Shin at time. There is only one thing that can counter her senjutsu, and like fire with fire, Katsumi said. As Arashir and Menma tried to use the tailed beast's chakra, but Zero Tails holds Menma and Arashir and absorbed a bit of Katsumi's former hatred as the two changed back to normal unconscious as Zero became more powerful. It can't take all of you chakra without the Shinigami sealing me, Zero said as it sensed the Reaper seal on both. It's time to use Six Paths mode now, Naruto said as his group nodded as they closed their eyes as each of them showed their black scara, while the eyes were light purple as the white pupil was in the shape of a rhombus, Calyrex's eyes. This symbolizes Six Paths Sage mode. While Shikaku and Gaia gained a sandy brown cloak, Fu and Chome gained light orange cloak, while Naruto and Katsumi gained a golden cloak, and Satsuki gains a bluish and black flamed cloak. Meanwhile in Yuzu, Matatabi sneezed because she felt that someone stole her likeness. It looks at Naruto as it uncovered its face to show Amaru's as it licks its lips at the darkness and hatred. I sense darkness and hatred, my child. Now give it to me, Zero Tails said as it pounces at Naruto until Katsumi kicked it. Leave him alone, Katsumi shouted at it as she created a medium-sized chakra construct of her fox form and even added a white-colored perfect Susanoo armor, which amazed her brethren and everyone present. As both were throwing punches at each other, until Katsumi fired a magnet-style Rasengan, which made cursed marks formed on the Zero Tails, thus immobilizing it quickly until it left Amaru's body. That's it, it shouted as it prepared a dark-tailed beast bomb that was blue. As Katsumi made one but others noticed, that it was black and red as she swallowed it to fire a beam that collided with the dark ball that somehow made a portal as three girls appeared. Ino and Hinata? What are they doing here? It's that me with a bigger chest and ass, Sakura asked, as there were two of her now present while Naruto was distracted. Zero went inside him. Holy crap, Hinata is stacked, Naruto said as Arashir and Menma heads became like wolves howling as Sakura hit them, knocking them out. Inside the seal. As Zero was finally inside, it saw Kaguya looking at it angrily with her three eyes, Tensigen and Rinne Sharingan. What the fuck are you doing inside my Naruto-kun? She yelled at it. Looking for negative emotions to consume, it said. Why? Kaguya asked, since like her she need to learn the motives before jumping to conclusions, unlike Hagoromo and Himura. To live ever since I was created from you and the 10 tails, as I was the yang of the 10 tails, making me their dark side of the yin-yang. You know what Hagoromo told me? To get out of his presence, as you were unnecessary, as they began to be recognized, while I can only consume negative emotions and never even feel happiness nor love. It said sadly, as Kaguya frowned, as she can relate, as when she first landed on Earth she sympathized with humans as she never saw them as ants. Let me show you something, Kaguya said as Zero Tails followed her as they saw memories of Naruto since the minute he was born. The more Zero Tails watched, the more shocked it became. How could he bear so much of that and not kill himself? Even that's vile and low even for me, said to Kaguya. If I didn't help them and showed them that they have the right to choose themselves, they could rise up from the norm. You have seen most of those girls. They are with him because he helped them be better than themselves. Is their love and care for him then keeps him sane, especially near his former family. If you behave, they can make you a proper body that doesn't need to store negative emotions, Kaguya told it. Zero Tails thought about it and nodded as Kaguya made it leave the seal. Outside it stood there as it told them to promise it a new body as it went inside Katsumi to rest as she gained a phantom tail, thus making her a pseudo 10 tails. Glad that is over now, Naruto said as Dodo bitch and moaned that he lost his tailed beast. Naruto made an all-killing ash bone from his hand towards Doto as he turned into ashes while leaving a key intact. Thank for saving us, Naruto. Koyuki and Fubuki kissed Naruto in the cheeks. Don't thank me, thank Katsumi, he said as Katsumi blushed. Having 10 tails suit you, Katsumi, Naruto told her with a real genuine smile that she loved from him. Baka, she said, pouting as the others laughed as it woke the three girls as they saw Naruto and Katsumi. Oh my Kami, it's Menma. RTN. Ino said, scared behind RTN. Sakura as RTN. Hinata tried to punch him with a lion first to Naruto, but he quickly held her hand to absorb the lion fist. This confused the real Menma since that Hinata went towards Azura. You bastard. I never understood why Sakura and I loved you. RTN. Hinata said before losing consciousness. WTF. Team 5 and 7 said in unison. What do you mean of me being named Menma? Naruto asked RT. Sakura as she looked at Katsumi. You're not Menma, and how come that fox isn't Kurama and not a rampaging 10 tails? She asked them as Team 5 and 7 looked at Katsumi face-palming. Excuse me, Katsumi said with sass at RTN. Sakura as she explained that her own Menma became the 10 tails Jinchuriki to destroy their elemental nations, leaving nothing at all, as the three girls were spared by a rift in time and space and landed where they are now. They even thought that Naruto was going to rape them as they accused him. Rape is such an ugly word, I prefer roleplay, Naruto said to himself. That has to be the craziest thing that I have ever heard, and I had Shikaku inside me before. Gaia said ever since training with Black Sun the weirdness became normal to them. What's next, an asexual male version of me? And that a version of Temari fell in love with a lazy genius? Gaia said in sarcasm as Ino was about to say something but shut herself. She is not lying since I checked her mind and was telling the truth. Luckily that Menma isn't strong enough to enter our dimension with an untrained Rinna Sharingan, and that Shikaku can beat his ass without moving. Katsumi said as she checked RTN. Ino's mind while Shikaku grinned. Excuse me, but who is that? Sakura asked, looking at her hot and sexier alternate self. She's your twin sister that your mom thought she died as a baby during the Nine Tails attack. Naruto lied as Katsumi nodded. Oh, okay then, Sakura said as Koyuki explained that key is for the dungeon cells below. God, she is so annoying. RTN. Sakura thought to herself while looking at her weak counterpart she became exhausted. Is it me or those three became weaker than before? Matsuri asked as she sensed their chakra becoming lower as she told to Naruto and Satsuki as he harassed to Yuzu so that Irene can check on the three girls. Naruto sighed as he used his Rinna Sharingan to memory wipe everyone's memories of this event, except for White Lotus, Koyuki, Fubuki, RTN, Sakura, RTN, Hinata and RTN, Ino, and changed it that the last thing they saw was Kakashi killing Dodo with a Chidori to his chest for Konoha. It can be written on their report, but Black Sun will have the truth. Let's free the prisoners before finishing the mission, people, Naruto said as they went to the dungeons. Snow Daimyo's Palace, Dungeon. As White Lotus, Koyuki and Fubuki went down to the dungeons as they saw people inside the cells. As women such Alcina Dimitrescu, Bella, Daniela, Cassandra, Jill Valentine, Claire Redfield, Rachel Foley, Gina Foley, Olga Discordia, Chloe, Celestine Lucullus, Alicia Arcturus, Maya, Kaguya, Shrine Maiden, Claudia Levantine, Prim Fireire, Grace Campbell, Anna Florence, Mistiora Arte, Iris Arcadia, Radamara, Astrid Flammel, Ruka, Norn Null Alfheim, Lucy Menelumia, Phyrus Hagerhelm, Delva Celebrian, Evelyn Celebrian, Misery Stentrem, Elda Ballad, Akame, Isteth, Niao, Chelsea, Mine, Leone, Shiel, Nagenda, Seru Ubiquitous, Ran Mao, Hannah Anafellos, Lavilias, Phonica, Tia, Iris, Lafulia, Yuki Nanaka, Kurumi Nanaka, Chisato Hasegawa, Zest, Sapphire, Jai, Adult Form, Ingviled Leviathan, Yubaluna, Calawarner, Rainair, Keisha Abaddon, Coriana Andrielfis, Zenobia Corda, Rossweiss, Asia Argento, Irina Shidu, Ravel Phoenix and Graphia Lucifuge were held in cells with tattered clothing, and the smell like Dodo's men had their ways with them if they didn't comply as to Bella, Daniela, and Cassandra were nearly freezing as Naruto and Satsuki shared a bit of their limitless chakra to heat them up as White Lotus began to freeing them. Thanks for helping my daughters, Alcina said as she hugged Naruto and buried her chest into his face. No problem, miss? Naruto asked while blushing. Alcina Dimitrescu, a pleasure to actually meet a decent pure-blooded Otsutsuki and a humble one as well. She answered him since he was the first man to actually help and free them since her daughters are extremely weak to the cold and could have died if it weren't for Olga's magic heating them a bit. Koyuki saw a few elf girls and gasped. Most of them are from the Dark Continent, Koyuki said. Are you shitting me? Shikaku said, surprising everyone from Black Sun. What is it that is so bad about the place? Satsuki asked since they never learned about the Dark Continent before. Is way more dangerous than the Elementals nations as they are beings more powerful that make Hagoromo and Hamura look like babies and that are nearly at par with a pure-blooded Otsutsuki. Chome said as he remembered one time when he learned to fly, as he got curious and explored the Dark Continent but escaped just in time before being captured by Hashirama that he was meant to stay at Konoha with Katsumi but Kakuzu had his ass handed to him thus giving him to Taki to avoid war. Let's talk about that later, Kei, Naruto said as he helped free more women as Satsuki neared Koyuki. So princess, what will you do now since you are now the new daimyo? Satsuki asked. I will be the daimyo but still work on my acting career. If I need help I can contact your guild Naruto-kun. Koyuki told him as he told her and Fubuki if they need help focus chakra on their mark and he will come to them. If I need an heir will you give it to me Naruto-kun? Koyuki whispered at his ear as he got a minor nosebleed since he already has 2 daughters, that he will raise them as if on cue to Canon Sasuke sneezing, while the others guys mutter, lucky bastard. The first one to have a consensual baby first is me and Katsumi. Satsuki declared that she said that about including Katsumi. Meanwhile, Konoha. Reiko date Wingfield, Rika Hayama, Maya Kamuazumi, Mio Sugiyama, Ai Siki, now High Elf Archer from Goblin Slayer, and Mabui all bounded as Minato gropes Reiko and Mabui's asses while inspecting the others until he showed his dick to Mao, who laughed at his small size like how he could make 3 children, until he dick slapped her and ravaged her until she breaks, but she stood her ground. Even Sai and Astolfo were horrified for what Minato did, since the Senju clan were about the village as a whole being like a family to obtain peace, but both thanked Naruto and Satsuki for opening their eyes against the fascist propaganda of the Will of Fire, which was built on lies after the system was founded. "I've had better ones than you," Now said before she was knocked out as a root Nin took them away. "As I was saying, you know these women are some fine pieces, I'll tell you what," Minato said with a Texan accent, Hank Hill, as he ordered more root Nins to take the girls away. "The deal is my former secretary, these girls from the Dark Country, since they have a land bridge and 3 million rios in exchange to buy a fake Kushina, the real Hanabi and the real Narumi, 3S rank jutsu of my choice, the 4 symbol seals to make the 8 trigram sealing style, the Rasengan, and to finally learn the Hiraishin," I said, grinning, to finally have what he and his father wanted. "An Uzumaki that can use the adamantine sealing chains while adding a nature type, and a Hyuga clan heir that possibly has the fabled Tensigan, which is said to be equal to the fabled Sage of 6 Paths powers." While Sai and Astolfo looked worried that they have notified it to Naruto as they made Danzo to leave to attend important stuffs, as Minato nodded as the 3 left the room. They went into a storage room to make sure they weren't followed as they summoned their personal summons, Betty the Dancing Ink Demoness and her sister Alice the Ink Angel, Zack the Hedgehog 97-2's version, as both were made from magic ink, not by Chakra, that they found when they were young, that they formerly helped Sai and Astolfo to manage their emotions until Naruto killed Danzo and made an animatronic out of his corpse. Both summons have started to gain feelings towards Naruto, as Alice hid it better than her lustful older sister, especially hiding her erotic portraits in her room in Yuzu, where getting a little envious when they spy on them having sex when Sai and Astolfo are off duty sometimes. "Girls, I need you to give this scroll to Naruto in Yuzu about some hostages Minato bought," Astolfo said as she gave Alice the scroll, as both leave into a portal made of ink towards Yuzu. Meanwhile, Yuzushio at a HQ's hospital wing, as Irene, Ada, Kushina and Rin checked the conditions of Sakura, Ino and Hinata as to why they are getting weaker by the minute. "This is not good," Irene said in concern. "What is not good, Aunt?" Naruto asked. "That they can't stand here for long, since they are not from this reality, unless we get their counterparts from here to merge with them, so they can live, and we have a month by my calculations," Irene explained, as Naruto need to kidnap Sakura, Ino and Hinata from this reality to save them, which is easy since the 2 of them are weak than these 2, but Hinata is the most well-guarded, one, due to her Byakugan. He can relate to them since they lost everything at first, as he will help them, and he can use the invasion as a distraction. As Naruto was worried about these girls until Alice and Betty came and gave Naruto a scroll made by Astolfo, as he read it, as he 6 Paths killer intent was leaking out of him when he finished reading the contents of the scroll, as Katsumi saw the message and she went mad. "Oh no, he didn't do what I think he did," Katsumi said as she gave Kushina the scroll, as she screamed to the heavens, as everyone heard a familiar scream of the Red Death, as I unknowingly has less than a year to live, even the summons heard it. While a certain mad bomber was pleasing herself with her mouth hands, since she can't find the lucky bastard who destroyed Suna in less than a day. Mount Mayaboku. As Gamamaru woke up from his nap, as he saw a vision of the future and became scared of what he saw. Seeing the possible future as 10 different tailed beasts, but were different that he saw them before, as 9 of them have the Tomoed Rinnegan, as the 10th one has the Rinne on the forehead and Tensigan eyes, even an army of women with the Tomoed Rinnegan and Tensigan. A white snake that was even bigger than Hakuja, with a woman on its head with Darmagon eyes. A black-haired woman that is carrying the Uchiha clan's gunbai on top of a 9-tails that was white. What surprised him more is seeing 2 beings that have also the Rinne Sharingan and Tensigan, with Kaguya behind them smiling at the destruction that they were doing. Jiraiya and Minato need to know about this now that Erasure and Menma are not the children of prophecy that he said. If someone frees Kaguya, then it's the end of the elemental nations and the summoning realms as we know it. He said to himself, not knowing that it was his entire fault, as some things weren't meant to be seen and would bite his ass eventually.